At this moment, the retainers around him collectively fell into a demon. They looked terrified and couldn't believe that the scene they saw was real. Never thought of it. Kazuki Odin just made an attack, but was struck by a golden slash from Kazan, which bypassed the defense of the two knives, cut the whole person in half, and split his body in half. The entire battle took less than a second for the family. As a result, only half of the body remained. Odin, with a closed mind, will not even understand until he dies how he intended to be beheaded. The sea today. You'd be ashamed to call yourself a master without some conqueror's winding skills. And Kazan not only mastered the high-level use of Power King color. What's more, with the powerful physique of the phantom beast species, the destruction of the power fruit, the overbearing of the heavy fruit, and the defense breaking of the operation, such ultimate power, if you don't master the defensive skills, you will rush straight like a reckless man. The result is only one word: die. Master Odin is dead, where should we go? The retainers were filled with resentment. They have been assigned to Odin by Sukiyaki, and it didn't take long for the entire Kazuki family to be expelled from Wanokuni by Kaido. Odin, who is now the master, did not listen to everyone's persuasion, and chose to attack the legendary man Kazan. As a result, he was beheaded with a knife. Not even a dead body is complete. Once such a thing happens, it means that all the warriors present have become real bereaved dogs. Originally they were retainers of the first daimyo family in Wanokuni. The status is extremely noble. And now, in just a moment, he became a wandering warrior who was exiled outside. Avenge your highness Odin. Damn. Why did things get to this point? We shouldn't have come to this island. The retainer tightly held the weapon in his hand, staring at Kazan intently. Although they knew they had no chance. But besides dying in battle, there seems to be no other way to choose. Don't be distracted, idiot warriors. Dragon 8 trigrams. Kaido will not give these people a chance. In this venue, not even a martial king can survive. And Kazuki Odin is really dead. He actually chose to change his opponent temporarily and chose to attack Kazan, but was instantly killed. Kaido had nothing to do about it. It seemed that Kazan wanted to leave Kaido with Odin's head, but Odin, an idiot, chose to go to Kazan's skills. Deserve it. Now Odin is dead. Kaido naturally vented all his anger on these retainers. Just a stick. Slap a retainer flat. The retainer was directly burned by the flames, bombarded in the stone wall, and lost his vitality. There's only a burning smell left. Kazan Scabbard's first generation Onitoru. Wait for Kaido to end the fight, then have him send Kinemon and Kurozumi Kanjuro over. Tien Yushui trotted over quickly and hugged Kazan. After seeing that Kazan was fine, he was relieved. On the other side, Tianyue was shocked. From Tianyu's point of view, Odin is a warrior of the Kazuki family, the largest family in Wanokuni, and his swordsmanship is very powerful, no doubt the strongest warrior she has ever seen. But such a samurai still couldn't survive the blonde man's move. Is this reasonable? Who the hell is the blonde man? At this time, Kazan came to Tianyueshi. At the time of the sky and the moon, the person with the time fruit ability, the traveler who came 800 years ago. Tianyue was shocked. You actually know me? Kazan smiled and pointed to the other side. This is the younger generation of your family, such as the head of the Tianyue family, Tianyueshui. There are portraits and information about you handed down in your family. Is that really the case? The moment Tianyueshi saw Tianyueshui, she could tell from her face, hair color and dress that this young woman was the descendant of the Tianyue family. People from the same family. That shouldn't be an enemy anymore. Tianyue breathed a sigh of relief. Ever since crossing, Tianyue felt that she hadn't met a good person. Either a human trafficker or a businessman blinded by interests. It took almost half a year for the group to find Wanokuna's location. But, is there a huge change in Wanokuni? This blonde man is obviously related to Tien Yushui. In other words, why did the Tianyue family kill the Kazuki family? Seeing that the beginning has already begun, Tien Yushui immediately explained, Senior, Wanokuna's situation has changed drastically. Several famous families are ruled by Master Kazan. He is the man you predicted can change Wanokuni, Kazan. Tianyue whispered, impossible. By traveling here by myself, I want Wanokuni to fulfill the prophecy and found the country. But the person who can create the country for Wanokuni is definitely not an outsider. Logically speaking, this honor of founding the country for Wanokuni belongs only to the Guangji clan. After time travel, Tianyue also inquired about the current worldview. But she found that the whole world has undergone tremendous changes. The vicissitudes of life in the past 800 years have not only completely changed the geographical location of Wanokuni, or in other words, the whole world has changed its place. Tianyue Shi even thought that he had changed the world. Everything will be revealed when I arrive at Wanokuni. But now, Tianyue Shuren has not yet arrived, and has been hit again by a huge blow. One of my juniors actually said, Wanokuni has changed its ruler? They are not from several big families. This result is too surprising. Didn't it say that the whole Wanokuni will enter a closed state early? How can power be meddled by outsiders? Soon, the sound of Rizen's footsteps disturbed Tianyueshi's thoughts. Kaido walked over with the two unconscious Kinemon and Kurozumi Kanjuro. Randomly throw people on the ground. After turning back into human form, Kaido said, Boss, the Kazuki clan, all of them have been dealt with. Only these two survived, and now the entire 10 clans in Wanokuni only have that old guy Sukiyaki left. Do you want? No threat anyway. Kazan nodded. In Kazan's view, Kazuki Sukiyaki itself is a weak person. Even the Onijima chapter is hiding, so weak that it can be ignored. Such a person can't make any waves. Now that Kazuki Odin is dead, the Kazuki family is gone. Sukiyaki is unlikely to find someone, give birth to Momonosuke. Besides, even if there is another Momonosuke, isn't it still a death? Kazan didn't want to waste time on this kind of thing. Directly use Op Fruit's skill, Norwegian Paradise, to take out the hearts of the two, and then throw Tien Yu Zan and Yan Mo into the space. After finishing, Kaido directly threw the two aside. Then, 2 gunshots sounded quickly, passing through the stronghold. Bang bang. At this time, Kazan paid attention to his system space. A basket of apples shook slightly, then. There are 2 devil fruits generated inside the apple, twisted into new patterns. Ding. You touched the secret treasure of the sea in the local world, Paramecia Fufu fruit. Fortune value plus 10 points. Ding. You have touched the secret treasure of the sea in the local world, Paramecia Pen fruit. Fortune value plus 20 points. Ding. You touch the crafts and creations of the local world, and the 21 craftsmen of the big sharp knife are cut by feathers. Fortune value plus 10 points. Ding. You touch the crafts of the local world, the 21 craftsmen of the big sharp knife, Yan Mo. Fortune value plus 10 points. Current fortune value, total, 503 points. Congratulations to the host. The fortune value exceeds the breakthrough value of 500 points set by the system for the first time. Reward the host, Devil Fruit Mosaic Frame X1. Devil Fruit Mosaic Frame. Host can put devil fruit into it to get the corresponding fruit experience. Ding. Host has contacted one of the leaders of his faction, Kaido of the Beasts. Beasts Pirates has officially been included in the faith value system of the overall faction. The progress of faith value has increased from 7% to %. Congratulations to host for getting the belief promotion reward. Congratulations to host, you got Devil Fruit Continuation Card X1. Devil Fruit Continuation Card. After the death of the previous demon fruit power, if the host uses the devil fruit that the target has used, the host can continue the development progress of the previous devil fruit owner in the corresponding ability. When Kazan saw this, his expression was a little moved. It is the fruit of Paramecia Bibi, and the fortune evaluation has reached 20 points. Although it is 2 grades away from the current highest fortune evaluation of 30 points. But devil fruit with 20 fortune points, it is very rare at sea. Therefore, the ability and strength of Bibi fruit should be good. It's just that Kurozumi Kanjuro didn't develop it well enough. Secondly, it is the luck value. If you increase it to 500, you can get a reward passively. Kazan did not notice before, there is such a hidden mechanism. After all, in the past few years, no major chance events have been encountered. And this time, I ran into a devil fruit mosaic frame. More at the same time. Fortunately, with my contact with Kaido, the belief value system was activated again, and the influence value increased by 7%, reaching the percent progress of the second realm. Going on like this. Wouldn't Shaki, Linlin, and Newgate also increase faith progress? When you have time to gather people together, can you also harvest a new wave of rewards? And the luckiest of all is as faith progress increases. This time I actually got a devil fruit continuation card. Can continue the development progress of the previous ability user, and continue its skills. Originally, Kazan was almost indifferent to devil fruit. After all, his current devil fruit ability is quite comprehensive, and most of the devil fruit in the space have not yet reached Kazan's standard. But if there is a continuation card, Kazan took a look at the leading fruit in the space. This Paramecia Lei fruit is in the hands of the Swordsman 5 Elders. After hundreds of years of development, the development progress must have been very high. At the same time, Kazan has observed carefully before that the raiding fruit possesses the ice attribute, attack of the nation of Underworld, and also has the ability to travel through space. And, most importantly, 5 Elders used super-strength ghost slaves that have survived for hundreds of years. Tanu, Ryoma and Oz and other top powerhouses of each era. And they are all captured ghost slaves. This is the absolute essence, preserved by the sea for several years. It's a pity that they didn't have the chance to show their strength before, and in the blink of an eye, the Swordsman 5 Elders was executed by Mary Jo. I doubt that these ghost slaves will disappear with the death of the capable person. But now it seems that he underestimated the function of the system. Just use all the rewards this time on the fruit. Just activate this pulsing fruit into a continuation state. Would not it be? A combat power system like 6 Paths Pain has been established without any effort. In this way, it can also pull opponents into the underworld space, kill them at will, and turn them into new ghost slaves. Kazan thought. The monkey D. Garp hasn't worked yet. How about training as a ghost slave to fight Marine? It's not bad to let them taste the power of the invincible Iron Fist. Furthermore, Marie Joyce is interested in the ability of the strategic level, a devil fruit that has been cultivated for 500 or 600 years, which can lead to the kingdom of the underworld. What secrets exist in it is also a question. The more Kazan thinks about it, the more he feels that it is necessary to take this fruit into his pocket and turn it into his own ability. At the same time, he is also very grateful. At the beginning, this fruit was left behind. Now, it can actually play a huge role. Devil fruit with a fortune evaluation of 30 points is the rarest existence in the sea. A smile played on Kazan's lips. After planning a lot, I immediately recited silently in my heart. System. Use the continuation card for the fruit of the game. Let it save the outdated progress developed by the 5 Elders. At the same time, integrate the fruit inlay frame into the entry, and inlay the lei fruit into the frame. OJ. Congratulations to host. Paramecia Lei Guo has used the continuation card. The inlaid frame has been successfully used, and the lei fruit has been successfully added to the entry. Congratulations to host. The development progress of the previous ability user, LV95. Hiss. Good guy. The Swordsman 5 Elders is worthy of being an old monster who has lived for hundreds of years. Actually, the lei fruit has been developed to level 95. This kind of progress should be regarded as the top level. It seems that as long as enough time is given, even people like 5 Elders can develop devil fruit to the top in their spare time. Time is the best cheating tool for ordinary people. One must know that Kazan's current level is only LV93. Compared with the progress of LV95, it is a big difference. It's just that Inzan took the hexagonal warrior route. All attributes are beginning to go hand in hand. Therefore, the upgrade is relatively slow. It is worth mentioning that even though the fruit has been developed to such a progress, the Swordsman 5 Elders did not show too much combat power. Kazan can only attribute the problem to the fact that the Swordsman 5 Elders did not have a chance to display it. Then how much can I display? Boom, here, the entry is embedded with the devil fruit mosaic. Kazan felt that the whole person was in a mysterious feeling. A cold air permeated the whole body. Kazan seems to feel that he has the ability to communicate with the kingdom of hell. Thumb out the first generation Onitoru from the scabbard. An icy blue flame burst out from the scabbard, burning blazingly. However, this ice blue flame is not scorching hot. Even as soon as the flames came out, the surrounding ground, flowers and plants began to condense into ice. It is from the underworld, the power of extreme cold. Without experimenting at all, Kazan could feel an extremely cold force in the flames, and the ghostly flames from the underworld can also freeze everything like Logia frozen fruit. It's just that the range is much smaller. Doesn't have a wide range of skills like Ice Age. But at least it also complements the shortcomings of the ice attribute. It is also a strange trick to use well. Furthermore, even the coordinates left by the Swordsman 5 Elders have also been carried on. At this moment, in Kazan's brain, there are hundreds of coordinates all over the entire pirate planet. Space transfers are available as long as they are mobilized. Several are in the Holy Land of Marie Joyce, scattered among the various important palaces. More critically, coordinates have a memory specification. Even if Kazan takes the ability over, he knows where the coordinates go. However, This coordinate memory is not complete, it only explains the location of the coordinates and the general environment. Apart from the coordinate information, there is no deeper secret. But it also caught Kazan's attention. If it becomes necessary to raid Marie Joy's later, this passage to the Underworld is a good choice. It might have unexpected effects. However, it is not the main ability of the fruit to achieve space transfer through the Underworld, so even if it is developed to LV95, the fruit can only transfer 30 people at most once. Compared with the Door fruit, this kind of exclusive space transfer ability, the Lei fruit is not enough. There is no doubt that Zan will no longer need to move Molly. Shuttle space can also be realized, at last. They are the ghost slaves enslaved by Swordsman 5 elders for hundreds of years. There are in total. The most outstanding of these are the 6 people in the Hell 6 Paths. Wanokuni, Sword God, Horse, Trollman, Oz. Great Pirate, Vandale. Elbaf, Prince of Giants, Thor. Slave Officer, Shelby Conter. Impel down to serve as the Warden, the Willow of the Rain. If these people are summoned together, they will be a high-level combat force no less than the level of the Vice Emperor, and with Kazan's own strength, he can combine with them to form multiple tactics. Check out the basic functions. There is only one special place left, the Kingdom of the Underworld. The last time Kazan entered the land of the Underworld, Kazan also saw that the environment around the arena is not only beautiful, but also has vegetation and rivers that are different from the real world, and there are many souls floating in it. Maybe in the future, if he understands all the abilities of Li Lei Guo, he can really meet the wandering soul of rocks. Coco Island. Things are over. The forces of Kazan and Kaido have wiped out all the main forces of the Kazuki clan. What Kazuki Odin, the Red Sheath 9 heroes, Kazuki's vassals, and Chi were all sent to the land of the Underworld. And the harvest is also good. Now that he has come to Wanokuni, Kazan also plans to stay for a few days. At the same time, Kazan also intends to see how Kaido's beasts pirates are built. So he ordered, let's go. Let's go back to Wanokuni first. Tien Yushui smiled and said, I haven't been back for several years. After finishing speaking, Tien Yushui ran to Tianyue Shi's side. Senior, please come back to Wanokuna's Tianyue clan with me. Yeah. Kaido nodded excitedly. Me? Tianyue was confused. When Tianyue saw that Kazan was going back to Wanokuni, she happened to be on the way with her, and her younger generation, Tianyue, seemed to be following Kazan's path, and seemed to want to take her away, so she followed along. After all, it wasn't long before the time of Tianyue crossed. The whole head is in a period of confusion. Today, after 800 years of changes, the world is no longer what it used to be. The worldview in Tianyueshi's mind seemed to be completely shattered. And during this time, she learned that, except for the names of some islands that have been preserved, everything else in this world seems to have undergone tremendous changes. It is difficult to accept for a while, but it is also very normal. Kazan is also aware of this, so he didn't take the time to get the secret from Tianyueshi's mouth. It's useless to ask. Anyway, the time of day will definitely not run away. At this moment, there was a change in the surrounding area. A Beast's Pirates guard who was outside came to report. Boss Kaido, we found a pirate ship on the sea surface. Looking at the pirate logo, it should be the Roger Pirates. Should we intercept it? Pirate ships passing Wanokuni will be monitored by Beast's Pirates. After all, it is a way to recruit people. Kaido has annexed the forces of the sea in recent years. Of course, the premise is that he has a good eye for those pirates. Now Kaido's eyes are high. Without 2 brushes, it is impossible to get into his Dharma eyes. Today, Naval Headquarters has lost Garp, and Sengoku and others set out to search for Logia-capable users all over the world. The Roger Pirates have always been relatively low-key, so they have become free men on the sea. But their strength is still very strong. Now that they met, the people under him hurried over to report. Roger? It's the guy from the Valley of the Gods. In the past few years, they have been running around in the sea, and they usually disappear without a trace. Kaido turned to look at Kazan. Then he said to the surrounding boys, you all remember, Brother Kazan is the boss of our Beast's Pirates. Our Beast's Pirates are just a branch of the Flying Pirates. There is only one real leader. Hiss. The few subordinates who came to report noticed the golden figure of Kazan in front of them. Before, Kaido never said his power affiliation. The people under his command only know that Kaido has been in the Flying Pirates for a while, and thought that he broke away from the Flying Pirates and established his own family. Unexpectedly, he just developed his power in Wanokuni as a branch. That. How powerful is the current flying pirates? And. The man in front of me. Definitely a legendary man. The man who was equal to the rocks. It actually appeared at this moment. The subordinates of the beast's pirates did not dare to look up. Hello, Boss Kazan. Good afternoon, boss. Members of the beast's pirates appeared one by one, saying hello to Kazan. This is the boss's boss hiss. Of course the younger brother should be extremely respectful. Good job. Let's be louder next time. Kaido laughed and said, hello. Boss Kazan. The subordinates immediately chimed in and shouted loudly. As long as Kazan is around, Kaido doesn't see himself as the captain of the beast's pirates. Any ideas have to be issued by Kazan, the immediate boss. Kazan thought about it. When I was about to speak, Roger iconic laughter sounded around. Ahahaha. Kazan, we meet again. I've been looking for you. Roger, Rayleigh, etc., appeared on the island. However, Rayleigh frowned, because he saw that Kazuki Odin's lower body was still standing on the ground. The upper body has long since disappeared without a trace. Rayleigh immediately felt a little bad, and reminded in a low voice. Hey. Roger, it seems that something unpleasant happened here just now. Didn't you see the standing legs on the ground? WWW. A man with such strong legs was cut in half. Kazan must have done it. Who is this warrior dressed up? It's really miserable. It's not good for him to mess with anyone, he has to mess with Kazan. Jabba picked his chin and reminded. When we came, wasn't there a bust with a hairstyle like a plate in the woods? You mean the one hanging from the tree? Rayleigh said. That's right. Jabba nodded and said with lingering fear. There is a distance of 800 meters to here. How did the half of that stupid big body fly over? Such a terrifying power, we are really fine. Seeing that his teammates were so flustered when they met Kazan, Roger immediately laughed and said, to this day, I still don't feel any killing intent from Kazan. Little ones, it's absolutely fine, I have absolute trust in Kazan, he's a man of principle, don't worry. Ahahaha. Roger has the ability to listen to the voice of all things, can perceive good and evil, and the degree of threat. And every time I met Kazan, I didn't feel threat from him. Therefore, Roger decided that Kazan was still friendly. Maybe there was no friendship between the two, but it was the kind that would not break up easily. Kazan ignored the arrival of Roger and others. Instead, keep your eyes on the ground. There was falling an object that Kazan was very familiar with. In one move, use the blue flame cloud to take down the perpetual pointer dropped by Kazuki Odin. Pick up the permanent pointer and have a look. On the wooden surface outside the glass, it is written, Ko Chong, Zo. The island where the Zo kingdom is located exists on the back of a giant elephant that has lived for as long as 1,000 years. The owner of the elephant stepped into the sea with all 4 feet and followed certain laws in the ocean without stopping. It has been wandering in the waters near New World Dressrosa. This has led to the location of Zo Island to follow the autonomous actions of the elephant owner. The geographical location is very special. If you want to reach the island, you can only be guided by the life card or the permanent pointer. And on the island of Zo, there is a furry principality. It is the hometown of the fur tribe in the legend. At the same time, the fur clan is also a famous war beast clan, and their combat power is much stronger than ordinary people. Kazan also asked Kaido to pay attention to some information about Zo Island before. After all, Kazan, who knew the plot, knew in his heart that the race of our Pi tribe is very powerful. Especially with the medicine that can transform into a moonlion form at any time. The potential of the fur tribe race will be fully stimulated. And Stussy, as a scientific research expert of the flying pirates, has also done experiments in drug development before, and his foundation is still good. So, in this case, if you bring the fur clan under your command, you can equip them with transformation medicine at any time on the battlefield. The flying pirates will be another promotion of the overall combat power. Even, the combat power of the entire fur tribe is equivalent to that of a pirate group. Whether it is Garrett the Rabbit or Beppo of the Heart Pirates, they have all proved the powerful combat power of the Moon Lion form. In this way, wouldn't the faith progress related to influence value increase again? As for the 2 kings of the Fur clan who are in charge of day and night respectively, they are the retainers of the Kazuki clan and have a good relationship with Wanokuni, but the Kazuki clan has been wiped out. Kazuki Odin and others will not leave any traces on Kokoroshi Island. Even the eternal pointer to Zo. All provided by Kazuki Odin himself. Looking at Roger and others coming in front of them. Suddenly Kazan had a new idea. Roger's goal is to find the historical text in the coordinate text, and then rely on the coordinates to go to Rafel, the final island. It happens that there is a corresponding historical text in the Zou Kingdom, and Kaido's Beasts pirates are also suitable for the Fur clan of the War Beast clan to join. As for Zou, it will be Kazan's territory soon. Want to take the text of history on Kazan's turf? Roger didn't pay a price, without a little effort? How could it be possible? On the other side, looking at Kaido's strong body in front of him, Rayleigh sighed. It's really amazing. This team. Even Kaido, the little devil who used to be, has grown into a strong player. Roger laughed. That's right, just as we expected. They never scatter. The team led by Kazan has always been the biggest team in the sea. 8 years ago, the news of the disbandment of the flying pirates spread across the sea, but the Rocks pirate, whose captain died, was once again twisted into one rope under the operation of Ochaku. The entire sea situation was cut down, as if it was the flying pirates who were hit. However, there was no relevant news from within the flying pirates. After the dispersal, those former senior cadres of the flying pirates did not give any explanation for this matter. As soon as they dispersed, they began to aggressively enclose territory in New World. Such an anomaly. Nature caught the attention of the whole sea. Roger had already analyzed it. This is what Kazan did on purpose. And besides being able to expand wildly, Roger couldn't figure out what the purpose of Kazan was. However, as the Roger pirates pursued the historical text, some answers gradually surfaced. Kazan seems to be controlling the history text. Up to now, Roger has investigated that the piece of historical text belonging to the ancient golden capital of Shandora was taken away by Kazan together with Sky Island, and now it is unknown where it is in the world. Anyway, it's on Bagpipe Island floating in the sky. Sky Island, it is no longer on Gaia Island. The Golden Bell, the historical text, have been moved by Kazan. This is why Roger came to find Kazan today. Ahahaha. Roger laughed and said, One Piece. What a great name. Kazan, aren't you interested in the title of One Piece? How can you choose to say it and let everyone in the sea chase after it? In the words, Roger's meaning is obvious. In the telephone interview with the news reporter, Kazan put forward the remarks of, whoever can get the big secret treasure is the One Piece, which detonated the enthusiasm of the whole sea. Originally thought that Kazan would participate in the ranks of competing for the great secret treasure. As a result, Kazan disappeared for another few years. But now it seems that Kazan is not interested in the so-called big secret treasure One Piece. Certainly. Roger is not interested in the title of One Piece, either. What he pursued was nothing more than hissing Rafel. You shouldn't just ask this question when you come here, Kazan said casually. Ah. Of course. Roger nodded happily. Many years ago, I was honored to entertain you at the banquet. This time, please give me a chance to entertain you. Seeing that Kazan didn't refuse, Roger turned his head and said, Little ones, the banquet is ready. We must make the banquet the most sumptuous. Ha 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 ha. Kazan casually looked at the pirates. Familiar figures are just that, Roger, Rayleigh. The younger generation is only 8 or 9-year-old red-haired Shanks and red-nosed Buggy. Now, red-haired Buggy 2 stinky brats are holding a barrel. Give the chef a hand on the side. There is no such thing as Hockey, who is always asking for face in future generations. But Bullet, no Shadow, I guess it's not on board yet. But think about it too. Because Kazan's plan is carried out by various crew members, the situation at sea has been different from that in the original book. Take Kaido as an example, although he has also established a large force. In the entire Wanokuni sea area, there is an existence that dominates. But the 3 disasters of later generations, because of Kanban or something. What fire embers, Jack the Ship King, Fatty Quinn. All unformed. Bullet is still floating in the sea, and it should be. Banquet. Officially begin. Roger frantically poured wine into his mouth, raised his glass and said with a smile, Kazan, we have been looking for news about the historical text recently, and according to our investigation on Gaia Island, there is a historical text in the ancient golden city of Shandora, and the island residents said that the piece of historical text, together with the golden bell, was placed by you in a place called Bagpipe Island. Gudong gudong. After taking a big sip, Roger looked at Kazan meaningfully. Kazan listened. I also understood what was going on. Bagpipe Island is its own territory. There are tens of thousands of Gaia Islanders and Sandia people on it. These people are similar to immigrants, with dual citizenship. The Gaia Islanders of Bagpipe Island go home when visiting relatives. It is very normal for them to have a door to help them, and to run back and forth between the two places. At the same time, the people of Gaia Island are also very keen to give New Chandora City and Bagpipe Island Amway to other people. It's not surprising that Roger was able to investigate the matter of Bagpipe Island. At the same time, the clues are connected. The Roger pirates are currently just looking for the historical text, and after they arrive at Sky Island and see Shandora's historical text, they will learn about the ancient weapon, Poseidon, and then they will be guided to the Fishmen Island. The Fishmen Island. In the Fishmen Island, the so-called coordinate text officially entered the vision of the Roger pirates. At this point, the coordinate text has officially become the goal that Roger wants to win. Kazan naturally didn't mind pushing. Looking at Roger's expectant eyes, Kazan smiled and said, "What about the historical text? You can go to Bagpipe Island to read it anytime you want, but before that, you Roger pirates must help me with one thing. After the matter is settled, I will give you the information of the two historical texts and a piece of coordinate text." After Kazan's voice fell, Roger was a little stunned. Is this a deal? However, what is the coordinate text? Why can't I understand at all? The current Roger pirates does not include Kazuki Odin. Among the members of the pirate group, there is no one who can understand ancient characters. They go in search of historical texts, just print it out. It is planned that when the conditions are ripe, it will be called a translation by a scholar who understands ancient characters. Now, from Kazan's mouth again, coordinate text. It is another kind of historical text. This made Roger very confused. But Roger's eyes lit up immediately. Kazan seems to know a lot. A man who releases the title of One Piece, but doesn't care about it at all, who clearly holds the historical text and knows that there are coordinate texts in it, no matter how you look at it, he is very mysterious. This kind of person really can't be used as evidence. Otherwise, the consequences will be disastrous. Kazan, what do you want me to do for you? Roger calmed down before asking the question. It's very simple. Kazan took out the permanent pointer left by Odin, and said with a smile, "This permanent pointer points to the legendary island, the country of Zo, Elephant Island. There is a whale forest on this country, and there is also history in it. The text, and the steel of the coordinate text. Of course you can get the rubbings of the historical text. But at the same time, the people of the Furry Principality, you must do your best to help me take it down." For the Furry Principality, Kazan kind of doesn't want to waste time. Now that I met the Roger pirates here, let Roger and Kaido team up and take down the Furry Principality. Certainly. Winning a principality does not necessarily mean launching a war. There are a lot of tricks, or superb negotiation skills, can achieve the goal. People tend to think that interests are entangled together. Only. Kazan didn't want to think about it. And according to the intellectual strategies of Kaido, Roger, Rayleigh and others, there is absolutely a chance to do it. So, just leave the work to them. To recruit so many subordinates, of course it is necessary for them to contribute. Otherwise, why keep them? Now, Kazuki Odin is dead. If the Roger pirates want to go to Zo, the only way is to get the permanent pointer from Kazan, otherwise, Roger Zo's coordinate text is not complete. I will give you a permanent pointer to show you the direction, and you will work hard. You go get your history text. I rule the Furry Principality. Very reasonable. Ah. Roger raised his beard when he heard it, and was shocked immediately. He waved his hands repeatedly and refused. Kazan, I'm not interested in ruling, and I don't intend to help you win the war against another principality. I'm afraid there's nothing I can do about it. Rayleigh said, Roger, you choose. As the residents of Gaia Island have provided, Kazan doesn't seem to be skipping the war. Maybe we should listen to the explanation and make a decision. Rayleigh concluded. The text of the coordinates. Does it point to the Rafel? Faced with Roger's refusal, Zan didn't mind at all. Rayleigh is right. There are many blocks in the historical text. One is the text that records historical events. The other red historical text records the coordinates of Rafel. As long as the 4 coordinate texts are collected, Rafel can be found. Otherwise, no one can go to Rafel. Since you want to go to Rafel through the historical text, Zo, you can't skip the link. Besides, going to Zo is really a matter of starting a war or not. You can completely obtain it through outsmarting. The Furry Principality may need my flying pirates to save it. But the specific situation needs to be considered by you after you go to the island. Anyway, that's the task. It depends on how Roger handles it. As long as Roger doesn't agree, Zan Tien could not give the permanent pointer to Zo. At the same time, if you are not satisfied with the result. After that, Kazan does not intend to post the text of the coordinates to Roger. And why must Roger be king? The first is that Kazan doesn't care about the title of One Piece. The title is pretty much useless. Rafel has no treasure either. Secondly, it's about Roger's execution in Logue Town. In fact, the forces involved in the Valley of the Gods incident are the Rocks Pirate, the Flying Pirates, the Roger Pirates, and the forces representing Marie Joyce. If it is really discussed, it is a small-scale local secret war. The Valley of the Gods battle to the end. There are no pictures or videos left in front of the world. Afterwards, the incident was also passed on by word of mouth among the pirates, and many people have never seen the real situation. The influence of the Valley of Gods incident has actually been compressed. If it weren't for the fact that the reporters of One Piece World were not too dedicated and collected clues from multiple sources, Morgans called Kazan again, and estimated that Marie Joyce could unilaterally suppress the Valley of Gods incident. Can't even turn over any waves, and Logue Town One Piece's execution. It was Marine who publicized it, and even informed the whole world through newspapers. Marine is eager for everyone in the world to watch. This leads to, on the day of Roger's execution, the Logue Town Square was crowded with people. Inside, there are a lot of pirates, but in order to magnify the incident, Marine even allowed to be in the same square with the pirates. And no swordsmen meet. Red-haired Shanks, Clown Buggy, Doflamingo, Hawkeye Mahawk, Crocodile and other pirates. They all took part in this event. Therefore, the influence of One Piece execution is definitely greater than that of the Valley of Gods incident. It is a huge event with far-reaching impact. It is also the loudest melody of this era. Therefore, if the world of One Piece is missing the execution of One Piece, an important part will be lost. Therefore, Kazan is of course willing to push Roger to the guillotine. Only, not just in the way of the enemy. Kazan doesn't have any psychological burden on this. He is not an executioner, Roger, he is voluntary, okay. And the execution in Logue Town is no less than the Battle of the Valley of the Gods. The main character can't be less. Roger squeezed his chin. It turns out that this world has two kinds of historical texts, and I need to collect all 4 red historical texts to reach Rafel. It seems that I have to agree to your terms, Kazan. What Roger et al. Did not know was, the rest of the historical texts are actually in the hands of Kazan. It's just not released. Anyway, there is enough time now. Kazan doesn't bother to interfere with the progress of Roger's search for Rafel. Everything can just go with the flow, and Kazan doesn't care at all, after Odin's death, whether Roger will find the person who helped him read ancient literature. Roger pondered. Instead, he became a pawn in his hand. Roger was no fool, and of course knew that Kazan was taking advantage of him. But the goals of the two are inconsistent. If you want to get something from others, you will naturally have to pay a certain price. After thinking about it again and again, Roger still took the permanent pointer from Kazan. Kazan said with a smile, Kaido, recently, you and the Roger Pirates have held the Zou Furry Kingdom in your hands. The fighting power of the Fur Tribe is very suitable for the 100 Beasts route you planned. Kaido immediately took the order excitedly. He really deserves to be his boss. I have been looking for the Zou Furry Principality for so long before, and I have no clue, but now, just kill an Odin, and use the dropped permanent pointer to arrange everything. Even, they mobilized another pirate group that didn't believe in promises at all. They are the Roger Pirates. Unexpectedly, it was also tied up. Boss Kazan, it's really amazing. That's it. The banquet continued. As for Zou's matter, after the banquet is over, it will be handed over to Roger Pirates and Kaido to deal with. Kazan, just sit back and reap the benefits. At the same time, just off Koko Rishi Island, a small boat washed up on the beach at random and ran aground. Then, a figure jumped off the boat and walked towards the island where Kazan, Roger and others had a banquet. This figure only left a series of huge footprints on the beach. If you watch Wing carefully, it can be seen that this man is tall and strong, with long light golden hair covering the entire wide back. He is wearing a military uniform, and there is a logo of the Goltz Army on the left arm of the military uniform. The logo of 09 represents his identity as a soldier. Serial number. His eyes were fixed like a devil. Move faster. Had Kazan been here, he would have recognized him. This person is the hero known as the Devil's Descendant and the former successor. Douglas Bullet. Bullet is from New World's land of never-ending wars. There are wars there all year round. The place where he was born was in the territory of the enemy's Garsberg. In order to protect themselves, the parents chose to abandon Bullet as a drag. Then, the newborn Bullet became an orphan. By accident, he was taken away by the army of Galsberg and adopted. And adopt Bullet's captain. It's called Douglas Gray. Under Gray's training, Bullet became an excellent young Death Squad member. Their task was to explore the way in front of the minefields, or rush forward with the bomb in their arms, as the leader of the Death Squad. So, these juvenile Death Squads are also called Bullets. And Bullet is number 09 in Bullet Corps, therefore, Bullet is called Douglas's 9th Bullet. In this situation, Bullet's childhood was spent on the edge of life and death every day. For these children who don't know if there is a future, the only way to be liberated is to obtain battlefield medals. Those who make the greatest military exploits on the battlefield will be awarded medals, and medals will make people free. Unfortunately, medals can only be awarded to one of everyone in the troop. Many years, Bullet is working hard for the only hope. In one war, relying on his own strong strength, he was about to get the medal, but at the last moment, Bullet was betrayed by his companions. Not only the medal was robbed, but he was also seriously injured almost to death. Bullet blamed his own failures on his own pride and overtrusting his allies. Since then, Bullet stopped trusting others. He only believes in his own strength. Everything is only for your own victory. Then, Bullet just got harder, and at just years old, he became a fighting hero in Galsberg. And his captain, Gray, was promoted to general because of Bullet's favor. General Gray also gave Bullet a promise for this. As long as Bullet defeats the enemy in the follow-up war, he will be finally free. Only, in the last battle, Bullet tried his best to destroy the enemy. But he never expected that the captain who cared for him so much. He even betrayed him. Then, Bullet went straight back to the headquarters and directly destroyed the country and army that he had stayed in for years. For this reason, the kingdom pursued him wantonly and was forced to give up. Bullet ended up going to sea. Now, Bullet, who drifted to the waters near Kakek, accidentally learned from the street that the entire nearby sea area is the territory of Kaido of the Beasts. He was born to be strong, and when he finds the right opportunity, he will go to the island to fight many. And in this process, Bullet heard something even more incredible. That is, the Roger pirates are also in the nearby waters. For a young soldier who has not been out to sea for a long time, these big pirates who have been famous for a long time in the sea have emerged one by one, giving him a great impact and becoming the target he wants to kill. Whoever is stronger will be the one who will be killed. Otherwise, there is no way to prove the value of your existence. Bullet is a hero born in battle. Although all his honors have been calculated, betrayed, and deprived, in Bullet's heart, he still feels that he is worthy of the uniform he wears, and at the same time, he is also a truly powerful iron-blooded soldier. Fortunately, at this moment, Bullet has already seen the silhouette of a banquet being held on the island. Who will be the most powerful person inside? Who is Kaido? Who is Roger? Bullet stepped forward step by step, thinking in his heart. There are many opponents, it seems a bit difficult. Here, the banquet scene. On the land, everything is destroyed in one place. The smell of meat permeates the whole space. Now that the deal has been negotiated with Roger, Kazan and others also stay here, ready to finish the banquet. For Kazan, it's a very good deal for the Roger pirates to settle Zoe's affairs. Instead, I feel relieved. Isn't this the most efficient way of doing things? Anyway, it will not affect the final result, so let the subordinates toss as much as possible. Certainly, Roger is not considered a subordinate, it can only be regarded as a cooperative relationship, each takes what he needs. Kaido is listening to Kazan's teachings. Every time Kazan said, Kaido nodded seriously. The look is getting more and more excited, and also at this time. Hey, who is this brat? Is this one of your beast's pirates? I don't know, I've never seen it before. In the crowd, I don't know who yelled, which sparked a discussion. Everyone at the banquet turned their heads to look at Bullet who came here. Crash la la la. Bullet pushed aside the branches, and a burly figure appeared in front of everyone. The little ghosts who go to sea are actually all the same, and Bullet just heard about who is so and so in Deotu, and he only has one name when he gets the information, but when he really stands in front of Kazan and others, Bullet doesn't know where to start. Because I don't know anyone army, pirates. The two forces have completely different rules and internal environments. Bullet was born as a boy soldier, just went to sea again. Thoughts still belong to the pure, stupefied kind. Naturally, I don't know what the pirates will care about. I don't know what the rules will be in the sea. So, Bullet simply said, whoever is the strongest among you, I will challenge him now. An arrogant voice came. The banquet came to an abrupt end, and a few seconds passed. Suddenly, the members of the Roger Pirates laughed loudly. Ha 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 ha. Who is this stinky brat? Wait, who are you going to challenge? Here, any one of them can crush you to death with a single finger. Ha 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 ha. A young brat. Hey, brat, this is not the place for you. Pat. Bullet simply rushed over. A move that relies on the Iron Mountain. Knock the speaker away. Seeing this scene, the surrounding pirates still didn't pay attention. It seems to have some strength, the brute force of this body is really great. Looks like you're looking for trouble. So, brat, are you ready to put your life here? The surrounding pirates joked. No way. Who are the pirates gathered here? Kazan, Kaido, Roger, Rayleigh, Jabba. Which one of these people is not a famous and powerful man in the sea? The stinky little ghost bullet appeared suddenly, which seemed a bit abrupt. In fact, such a stupefied green brat could easily be crushed to death with a single finger. Kazan glanced at the person who appeared, can't help feeling. Fate is really wonderful. When he was in the Valley of the Gods before, Kazan took the Paramecia combined fruit in his hand, and until now, he didn't know how to deal with the combined fruit. And half an hour ago, Kazan noticed that Bullet did not appear in the Roger Pirates. Just wondering which corner of the sea that kid develops in. Did not expect. At this moment, we met at a banquet. The appearance of Bullet also aroused Kazan's interest. He knows. Although Bullet is a very innocent brat now, but during the holidays, he can grow into a character like Kaido. In the theatrical version, Bullet was imprisoned and impelled down. After he was released from prison, he was still able to make a big fuss with his strong strength. Especially his armament haki and conqueror's haki. Reserves can be described as massive. Didn't know about Bullet's strong body either. If you can train in strict accordance with the highest standards. How far will it grow in the future? I'm Roger, the captain of the pirate group who hosted the banquet. Gulu Gulu. Roger's interest in drinking was not disturbed, and he reported himself behind the door, looked at Bullet and asked, Little devil, what's your name? Bullet glanced at the man with the curly beard. Roger. The aura emanating from him is very powerful. My name is Douglas Bullet. I came here today to challenge the most powerful man here. Is this man you? Roger. Bullet said unceremoniously. Ah ha 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 ha. Kazan, you don't think I'm causing you trouble. Among all the people here, you are the strongest. Roger laughed. You misunderstood the person, Kazan is the strongest. No way, Roger is an honest man. In terms of strength, the people present. It is really Kazan who is the most powerful. Roger was convinced of that. Hearing Roger looking at a young man with blonde long hair, Bullet couldn't believe it. Is that you? Kazan? Isn't he a few years older than me? After getting pure gold, Kazan's appearance stayed in his early 20s. In addition, Kazan's personality is extremely restrained, and his sharpness is not exposed. Compared with the appearance of Roger, Rayleigh and others who are almost 50 years old, wrinkles have begun to appear on the face, and the arrogance of domineering is fully revealed with age. Compared with people like Kazan and Roger, the contrast is extremely large. It is easy to be misunderstood. Bullet didn't have much knowledge, so naturally he wouldn't believe Roger's plan. He prefers to believe that Kaido next to Kazan is the strongest. Kaido's body shape is there. Just by looking at it, you can feel the oppressive feeling of cheating. If Kaido knew what Bullet was thinking, he would immediately recall the scene when he first met Edward Newgate in Hachinosu. Smelly brat, meet stinky boss. Psychology is really great. Kaido blushes every time it rings. Unexpectedly, the stunned young man in front of him is even more youthful than he was back then. But Bullet didn't care about that much, and he was directly dissatisfied. Hey, are you collectively perfunctory? Since this is the case, then I only need to challenge one by one. Let's start with you. Your name is Kazan, right? A burst of momentum suddenly burst out from Bullet, and he said loudly. Facing being named by Bullet, Kazan felt helpless when he heard that. There has never been a shortage of brainless, reckless people in this sea area. Whatever happens to them, they only act according to their own wishes. Problems are often resolved through violence. This was the case with Kazuki Odin before, so is Douglas Bullet now. Actually, anyone with a little intelligence can figure it out. Kazuki Odin, who came from Wanokuni with little information, was kicked out of the country by Kaido recently. He doesn't have the same intelligence network as other large pirate groups, and his retainers are all rigid and ignorant people. Odin doesn't know the situation of the sea, and can't recognize the big sea powerhouses, and werewolves are nothing more than normal. Where's Bullet? A 15-year-old boy soldier was forced to leave the army he had been in for years. He was wanted by the kingdom he served, not by naval headquarters. After all, Bullet was not even a pirate. It's just that after going out to sea recently, he heard that the strongest person in this sea area is Kaido of the Beasts, and then he heard that a powerful pirate, Roger, has recently made a fuss in this sea area, and now he is looking for it alone. Because of Roger's words, it is normal for Bullet to choose Kazan as the wrong target. After all, there are very few men who can insist on reading newspapers while lying in prison like Doflamingo. Unreasonable for Bullet. Kazan didn't care. But Kaido couldn't bear it directly, and walked towards Bullet holding the 8 fasts. Hello. Where did you come from, you brat? You are not qualified to let my boss take action. Face the unexpected Kaido. Bullet also showed a reckless character. He doesn't know the heights of the sky and the earth. His goal today is to challenge all the strong. It doesn't matter who comes first. Besides, Bullet can also see that Kaido is very strong. This result made him excited, so he grinned and said, "Are you going to be my opponent first? It seems that is not bad." No nonsense. Bullet arched his strong body and shot directly at Kaido. Kaido disappeared in place at the same moment. When Kaido was about to arrive in front of Bullet, a purple-black thunderbolt suddenly entwined on the 8 fasts, bombarding directly on Bullet's face with lightning speed. Thunder 8 trigrams. Boom, facing the huge force coming from the surprise attack, Bullet rolled his eyes and flew backwards. Kill in one move. First, Kazan kills Odin in one shot. Kaido kills Bullet again. The banquet also became more lively. It's really weak, you're just a stinky brat. The fainted Bullet was brought back by Kaido and thrown on the ground. The Roger pirates who saw this scene, but already a little shocked, speechless. Who would have imagined that Kaido, that stinking brat back then, is not only a respectable figure now, but his strength is in line with his current status. It's not a show at all. Rayleigh sighed secretly, as conquerors winding. Kaido's strength is not the highest ranking among the flying pirates. It can reach this level. It seems that Roger has never regarded Kazan as hostile, which is the most correct decision. Otherwise, the entire Roger pirates, the regiment, could be wiped out. The whole sea, probably naval headquarters, and the flying pirates are fighting their arms. After the episode, the banquet continued for a while. Until Bullet woke up rubbing his head. He felt that his head had been knocked off with a hammer, as if he had been separated from his body. At the same time, he also attached great importance to Kaido's powerful strength. Kill in one hit. Completely lost resistance. The young man whom Kaido calls the boss. Hey, what is the strength? I can't even pass the level of Kaido, how can I challenge everyone present? Coming here with great interest today has become the laughingstock of everyone. What will they do with me? Thinking of this, Bullet fell silent, really wanting to find a crack in the ground and sneak in. He felt that raising his hand and saying a word were all superfluous. Can only be on one side, standing like a minion, silent. At this time, seeing that things are almost done, Zan doesn't want to waste time here. Kazan got up and said, "Roger, the matter between us has been settled like this. When Kaido is ready, I will let him meet with you. I believe you can give me a satisfactory result for the Principality of Zou." This meeting, Kazan's goal has been achieved. It's just a piece of historical text information in exchange for the efforts of the Roger pirates, so that the Beast's pirates can more smoothly take down the entire furry principality and subdue all the war beast races. As for Bullet, it was a surprise encounter with Kazan. In Kazan's view, Bullet is a simple-minded and very stubborn person. As long as he shows absolute strength in front of him, he will be obsessed and must be defeated. Just right. Kaido is also a combative person, and he can make a combination of the two. Kazan can give Bullet a power. Give him a chance to challenge Kaido once a day. When it's okay, let them practice 2 singles. In this way, the combat power of both sides can be improved, and Bullet can also grow up. As for that, Bullet would agree. Sorry, a loser, Bullet has no choice. It's time to give lessons to these super newcomers in the sea. I'm waiting for news from Kaido, Roger said helplessly. No way, Roger is going to Rafel, he must get the text of the coordinates. And only Kazan has the permanent pointer to Zou. It is impossible to snatch something from Kazan, he can only trade, even if Roger is unwilling, he can only accept the conditions proposed by Kazan. Kazan's first-generation Onitsu has been unsheathed. Immediately, raging ice-blue flames burst out from the blade, and the entire space seemed to have entered an ice age. The next moment, Kazan, Kaido, Tianyueshi, bullet. A circle of blue fireworks burst out from the ground around these 5 people, and as the Kang Yan slowly disappeared, several figures also disappeared in place, and they went directly to the kingdom of the Underworld. When it comes, Kazan has placed teleport coordinates at Wanokuni. You can take advantage of the land of the Underworld to show off Wanokuni. The other members of the Beast's pirates stayed in this stronghold directly. No need to take away. After the Rocks pirate, the flying pirates became the only superpower in the sea, and those pirates who wanted to die wanted to join them. To this end, Kazan formulated a policy for the 4 emperors to develop individually. And the title of Flying Pirates is not applicable. The purpose of this is simple. First, it was a relatively difficult period when the 4 emperors group was established. Blocking the name of the Flying Pirates can exercise the ability of Kaido, Newgate and others to build a group. Only in this way can they be qualified. Be the detachment captain, not be under the grace of the air pirates. In this way, the Flying Pirates avoid becoming a loose organization like the Rocks pirate. Back then, Rocks relied on his own reputation to form a rod-in force. No cohesion at all. Second, when the lower-level pirates of the 4 emperors group gradually learn that they are not only joining the 4 emperors team, but the ultimate force led by the Flying Pirates, their confidence will be renewed, once boosted. This is like, the pirates originally found a small startup company to work for, but accidentally became employees of the world's top 500 companies. It is an incentive for confidence. Kaido's current role is like a class teacher, dismissing all the students in the class. And Kazan, more like a principal, directs and mobilizes the teachers and students of the school at any time. When the forces are integrated, Kazan only needs to hold the microphone and shout to the audience. The entire force will operate stably. Soon, the bodies of the 4 appeared in the kingdom of the Underworld. Tianyueshi and Tianyueshue were immediately attracted by the beautiful surroundings. Under Kazan's gesture, they had an ancestor-level mission, and a junior, like 2 sisters, began to shuttle among the flowers in a relaxed mood. Surprised voices came out of their mouths again and again. Bullet. He was also drawn into the kingdom of hell by Kazan. But at the moment he looks like a muggle. Bullet had no idea what Kazan's purpose was. However, he sighed that this ability that seemed to be able to turn things around was too miraculous. Kazan intends to arrange Kaido's recent tasks first, and then deal with this stinky brat. Walk to the bank of the beautiful river. Kazan took out a phone bug and a permanent pointer to Zo, and handed it to Kaido. When your side is ready, you can use this phone bug to contact Roger, and then go to Zo with them to take down the furry principality, and leave the dirty work to Roger's pirates. I just want results. At the same time, when you arrive at the whale forest, you need to rub the Crimson History text, and then inform Linlin and Newgate to prepare the other 2 coordinates. We have to leave early and go to Rafel. Oh, Rafel? Hear Kazan's order. Kaido looked confused. He naturally knew the specific function of the red coordinate text. There's a piece of Wanokuni underground, guarded by the Beast's pirates. Although I can't read it, all the high-ranking members of the Flying Pirates know that the coordinates of Rafel are recorded on it. But Kazan clearly said before, the purpose of the Flying Pirates is not Rafel. The title of One Piece was given by Kazan. Didn't intend to compete at all. Are there any new changes? Looking at the confused Kaido, Kazan can only explain to him what the Flying Pirates are doing under the current situation and in this era. In fact, once you have mastered the 4 coordinate texts, you have mastered Rafel. As long as Kazan is willing to throw a random piece of coordinate text into the space for storage, no other forces in the world will find Rafel, and Rafel will only become the private property of the Flying Pirates. But Kazan won't do it, and is to choose another way. Another more controlled way. The flying speed of Bagpipe Island is not as fast as that of a spaceship, and Bagpipe Island can hover anywhere, so we simply placed Bagpipe Island in the sky of Rafel in advance. Stand by. What is the reason for this? Kaido probably understood what Kazan said. Just like the original Bagpipe Island, it is above Gaia Island. Now Kazan has to do it. Bagpipe Island moved to the final island of Rafel. Kaido wondered. Boss, are we going to win the big secret treasure? Wait. That's not right. After thinking about it, Kaido said with doubts on his face again. Boss, according to your intention, You want to give the text of Zhao's coordinates to the Roger pirates, and you should let Roger go. Take the big secret treasure and let him become the pirate king. So, what are we going to do at Rafel? For Kaido's question, Kazan didn't say directly. Kazan was afraid that Kaido would not understand, so he changed the subject and said with a smile, "Have you ever played the game of the flying pirates?" Played. Kaido nodded, thinking about the rules of fighting the landlord. It's a fun and addictive game. Moreover, it was invented by the captain himself. Kazan said again, "The poker game is a card game created by me. You are just the participants in the poker game, you are gamblers, but as far as the makers of the rules are concerned, they have the right to interpret all the rules. The person, it must be me, the creator. I can change the rules of the game at any time. For example, in poker, add a size, completely change the nature of the game. And switch to the Rafel of the great secret treasure. Roger to me is just a player participating in the game, and after he participated in this game, after Roger arrived at Rafel, he couldn't get anything out of the table. Take away. After Roger participates, we will launch Rafel into the air and integrate into Bagpipe Island. At that time, everything about Raftel's game, everything about the big secret treasure, One Piece and others. Titles for everything. All interpretation rights are with us. In a word, we control Rafel and become the game maker. At the same time, we also hold the lifeline of all the pirates who are chasing the big secret treasure in a disguised form. But first, we have to make Rafel valuable. That's right, its value. Roger is exactly the key player I want to use to push Raftel's value to the top. Even the only player. Facing Kazan's explanation, Kaido pondered for several minutes. Just sorted out a little thread. In general, Yizen's plan is divided into several steps. 1. Let Roger get 4 pieces of coordinate text, arrive at Rafel, and become the so-called One Piece. 2. Through news of the world, Morgan's added oil and vinegar, using Roger, the huge title of One Piece, to spread the news all over the world, and let Rafel spread from the illusory to the world. Say, become a treasure with real value. 3. At the same time, Kazan held the 4 coordinate history texts in the entire island of Rafel in his hands. Then, let all the rights of use and interpretation of Rafel become Kazan's words. 4. After having the absolute right to interpret Rafel, all pirates who are interested in Roger, the One Piece, will become Kazan's backup players. Kazan will make new rules and let them join new games. Certainly, this is not to play with all the pirates, but to achieve a certain purpose of Kazan. Think here. Kaido was sweating coldly. 4 emperors are shocked and numb. He knows. Bagpipe Island possessed after the Golden Bell was integrated. Kazan used the Golden Bell, a sacred object representing the golden capital of Shandora in ancient times, to easily integrate Gaia Island, Sandy. All the subhumans have been absorbed as new residents of Bagpipe Island. This is an important example of unity of faith. And the Golden Bell would have had historical value. It was originally a priceless sacred object. Therefore, the function of the Golden Bell itself can make the followers of Shandora surrender. And now, Rafel is just a legend of the sea, not an actual thing of that kind, nor a treasure worthy of the name. And Kazan to do? Just make Rafel another Golden Bell. Let it become a new, sacred object, with a certain function. A sacred object, exclusive to pirates. So, what makes Rafel valuable? Of course, there must be someone with weight standing up and declaring the value of the great secret treasure of Rafel. Valley of Gods. Rox used his last words to announce the real existence of the great secret treasure. Logtown. Roger used his last words to prove the actual value of the great secret treasure. And at this time, in fact, Kazan has already integrated the Rafel, which has been endowed with real value, into his territory. Be private. Right to use, right to explain. Black, white, whatever Kazan says. Anyway, the big secret treasure is firmly in Kazan's hands. Can't play with flowers in this sea? The context of things has become clear. In Kazan's idea, Roger first got the big secret treasure, announced it to the world, and then his own forces, and then quietly seized the big secret treasure. After the big secret treasure was endowed with a new, actual value, by Roger's death. According to the actual situation, Kazan will use the big secret treasure to arrange some things when necessary. Anyway, whether the big secret treasure is black or white is completely up to Kazan. As long as it is used properly, more goals can be achieved. There are no mistakes in the steps of doing things. Roger must be put on the scaffold, and in Kazan's eyes. Since meeting Roger, Kazan has never regarded Roger as an enemy. Why? For a person who can't threaten him, why waste his time thinking about defeating him and suppressing him? What is the use? With that strength, why not think about how to face Marie Joyce? Of course, Roger is not the person Kazan wants to please. After all, Roger is just a pawn with historical inevitability. Every step he takes is historically inevitable, and it is also the reason why Kazan originally intended to fuel the flames. Furthermore, Garp and Roger have been designated by Kazan as the ghost slaves, candidates who will be enslaved. These two are two powerful weapons against Marine. It can be done by surprise. Shame Marine in front of the whole world. It's just that the time has not come, and it can't be activated yet. At the same time, Lei fruit is not as simple as imagined. Many functions, also known by Kazan. Raiding fruit is to imprison the soul of the target person. It is not a fool. It is similar to the forbidden technique in impure world reincarnation in Hokage. Ghosts and slaves can talk freely, and their IQ is also online, but they will obey the rules. It's just the order of the surgeon. And the ghost slaves sent by the Swordsman 5 elders are all like silent people. Why? It is entirely because the Swordsman 5 elders thinks they are pariahs, villains on the sea, and humble lives like slaves. Even if their souls are embodied, they are not qualified to have a dialogue with the noble world rulers. Therefore, using the fruit of the beating, the seal was issued. Kazan can unmute whenever he wants. Therefore, the use of ghost slaves is not just for fighting. They are souls, but it also has human attributes. It just exists in a different form, the other side. Although Kaido has figured out the ins and outs of the matter, and knows that Roger is a chess piece pushed by Kazan with the historical trend, but he always feels that this ending is still missing something. In fact, Kaido has no idea how to activate the so-called big secret treasure. Facing the confused Kaido, Kazan is also very helpless. When I explained it to Shiki and Redfield, it took a long time for them to accept it. Joey Boy was a loser from a previous era. Rafel is his legacy. Also a huge joke. Wanting to give meaning to this joke is undoubtedly tantamount to making a dream come true. Nika form can do it. Luffy can do it. But does Kazan need to use Nika to do things? In terms of ideology, Kazan is a time traveler, and his ideological awareness is no worse than that of the huge kingdom that failed at the beginning. In terms of strength, the fruit of everyone is gathering Godhead, and may have surpassed the form of Nika. And even if you step back 10,000 steps, Nika is in the same form as in the plot, with a sense of escape, and was finally obtained by Luffy, and then in the next era, he followed the plot. But the problem is, Kazan already has the ability to hunt demon fruit power. As long as you take out Luffy's heart and throw it in the space, Nika's form will never hide, and it's not arbitrary. After all, Nika form, Joey Boy, is a thing of the past here at Kazan. Joy Boye left a legacy. It's all up to Kazan. He doesn't have any need. Ipoi's old ways, boss. Although we can control Raftel, it's not too complicated. Although I can guess that it has many functions, I still can't make a realistic prospect. Kaido was stunned, and his head was scratching bald. Facing Kaido with a questioning face, Kazan still patiently explained to him, Kaido, don't be so ambitious in doing things. There are some things, only when you get there, you will get the real answer. Think about it. What did we do in the Valley of the Gods campaign? The Valley of the Gods. Kaido still frowned, still not knowing why. Kazan continued. God's Valley, our pirate team only has 800 people, so the goal is to get resources, avoid confrontation with marine troops, and everything else is not important. In the end, it is not the use of Rock's pirate, to achieve the purpose of consuming marine, and now we have 4, or even 5 Emperor's regiments, and what we can do is not as simple as the Valley of Gods. Valley of the Gods, we entered with Rock's pirate. It is limited by the strength of the bottom-level combat power, and it is passive. But when our power grows and we have a strong foundation, we will no longer be passive in entering the market. How many beasts pirates are there now? Facing Kazan's inquiry, Kaido replied subconsciously. Beasts pirates, with combat strength, has nearly 30,000 people. Whitebeard pirates has 20,000 people. Linlin pirates has 10,000 people. And the 9 Snakes pirates have 10,000 people. There are 4,000 people in the regiment. Together, there are about 60,000 to 70,000 people. Kaido finished. Kazan said, that's right, and we still have a few years to develop. God's Valley, our team of 800 people is too small. so we can only choose to go to the island to get benefits, and now, our basic combat power is blooming everywhere in New World, and even the foundation of the entire New World has been laid. It's time to say goodbye to marine risk. In this era, we, the air pirates, will lead a war against naval headquarters. And the moment when Roger becomes king is the key to start this war. What era? What kind of thing to do? Looking at the whole world of pirates, we can actually count those eras. An unknown era 800 years ago, Age of Rocks. Roger era. Luffy era. In the era when Roger is king, what Kazan has to do is to use Roger to execute and beat Marine. And if you just lead a pirate group of tens of thousands of people, go to Naval Headquarters Marineford to find trouble, or kill the opponent without leaving any traces, although after the war, it will reach the level of shocking the world, but the effect is not as good as Roger, the Pirate King. Is the time for execution good? Roger was arrested. Marine hype. The whole world is watching. Know that Naval Headquarters is going to do something earth-shattering. It's the perfect time to start the war. And just like the current plot in the original book, Marie Joyce opened the World Summit, the Fishmen Island Shirahoshi, Cobra, etc. Many of Marie Joyce's allies have entered the Holy Land. During this period of time, it is also the time when Monkey D. Dorag's song name Army is on the move. All are aware of the big events that have taken place. Then create a big event, and then get a far-reaching impact. And now, what Kazan has to do is to push Roger to the execution platform step by step. The higher Roger's reputation is pulled, Marine pays more attention to it. And the more Marine takes it seriously, if he fails, he will fall harder. Then, taking advantage of the attention of the whole world, come a huge war that shocks the world. The road has to be walked step by step, and the meal has to be eaten bite by bite. Kazan naturally didn't expect to push Marie Joyce down in one go. But cut off a wing of Marie Joyce, Naval Headquarters. If you can hit Naval Headquarters hard, it is still necessary. Before the decisive battle, first consume the enemy's blood. It is this era, Kazan wants to lead the flying pirates, the task that needs to be completed. Certainly, when pirates all over the world are mobilized, their goals will become clearer, against Marie Joyce, against Naval Headquarters, and frantically looking for big secret treasures on the sea. But the big secret treasure has become Kazan's personal property. The 4 coordinate texts left by Kazan on the sea are actually empty checks. And the big secret treasure can be used by Kazan at any time. Furthermore, Ohara is already Kazan's territory. Release some news of the historical text as appropriate. Just do it right. Regarding the big secret treasure, the historical text, and the event of slapping Marie Joyce in the face, there will be no interruption at all. The whole Marie Joyce will have a headache, and the pirates who aim at the big secret treasure will never be able to avoid entering the territory of the Kazan 4 Emperors group. This is equivalent to having militant people in their own homes. Annexation one by one. The entire sea is facing the biggest riot in history. Moo ho lo lo. Hear hear. Kaido's blood was surging, and he kept laughing inwardly. He never imagined that Kazan would explain so many core secrets to him at once, presenting everything almost in a stripped-down manner, and almost feeding it into his mouth one by one. Engaged for a long time, turn out to be. Boss Kazan took Roger as a pawn and placed the pawn on a position called Rafel. And 4, indeed, Marie Joyce's lackeys, Naval Headquarters. Then, when it's time to drop, it's an introduction to the war against Naval Headquarters. This is like when 2 armies are facing each other. When the war starts, the first thing to do is to blow the horn of attack. When Roger announces his bold words to the world, and when Roger's head falls to the ground, it is the beginning of the battle. Certainly, Kaido will not understand why Roger was pushed to the execution platform. I don't know whether Roger will be killed or not. But Kaido at the moment, there is no doubt that Kazan can do it. That man will definitely achieve his goal. This moment, Kaido is enlightened. And Kazan saw that Kaido already understood, so he didn't say anything more. Summoning Bullet, who was stunned in the distance, Kazan didn't bother to talk nonsense, and said directly, "From today on, you can follow behind Kaido and work with the group as the deputy of Beast's pirates. Of course, you can challenge many." At the same time, Kazan exhorted Kaido again. You have to train him well and tell him what it means to be tall. Facing Kazan's order, Kaido nodded emphatically. I see, boss. He himself was brought out step by the flying pirates. The former Kaido also followed behind Shiki, behind Redfield, all kinds of shameless pleas. Teach and learn how to use hockey and various fighting techniques. Even at Kaido's request, Kazan also personally taught Kaido how to use Thunder 8 trigrams. There are not so many teachings of the strong. According to the original, in the early Kaido, it was just a 55 off with Kazuki Odin. But now, Kaido has received orders from Kazan, so he naturally knows that the 15-year-old boy in front of him is the object of Kazan's attention. Therefore, Kaido will definitely train Bullet into a high-level combat force. Only, in the face of Kazan, you have a word, and I have a word. It's as if you want to arrange your own destiny. Bullet on the other side was completely confused. Am I like being forced to join the pirates? What's the situation? You tied me here for this. But Bullet only obeys the strongest in his life. Although Kaido has the fighting power to crush him, even though he knows he is invincible, in Bullet's heart, he wants to fight Kazan even more. Here to test the limits of the sea. Without any scheming, he immediately said, "Wait, when can I fight with you?" Faced with Bullet's silly questions, most of them will be chased by this stinky brat. "You're not good enough, boy," Kazan said casually. "Whenever you have the strength to draw with Kaido, I can give you a chance to challenge. Now, you should not think about it, the gap is too big." At the same time, Kazan added, "Kaido, you have to pay attention to the devil fruit in the sea. Pay attention to this kid, he must get my permission to eat devil fruit in the future." Devil fruit. Kaido nodded, thinking involuntarily. Kazan generally doesn't care about the distribution of devil fruit in the Flying Pirates. Even if he just throws the devil fruit casually to his subordinates who have made good contributions, he doesn't care at all. What is the ability to mean? And according to what Kazan is currently saying, Kaido can see that Kazan is looking for a devil fruit for Bullet. Hiss. This is too important, but Kaido doesn't think there is anything. He is also the beneficiary of Kazan's gift of demons. Unicorn form. It is what Kazan ordered Kaido to eat. Bullet. Will he reach his current height in the future? The boss's vision never makes a mistake. Kaido stared at Bullet, the brat. Seriously reminded. "Thank you, boss." At the moment, 15-year-old Bullet doesn't know so much. He completely blocked information about devil fruit. Just remember, as long as you draw with Kaido, you will have a chance to challenge Kazan. Anyway, that's how things are. Bullet could only temporarily suppress the flame in his heart, waiting for the right time to formally challenge Kazan. Oh. Thanks Kazan boss. A few days later. New World, Wanokuni, Beast's Pirates Station. Kazan is reading Wanokuni's book. After so many years, he has not stopped the habit of reading books every day. Ding. You read Memoirs of a Geisha, read +9999. Outside of reading, the sound of bombing and blasting continued to be heard in the distance. The two figures kept flashing. Hey, Bullet, is it because I, Beast's Pirates, didn't give you food? Do you think that lousy has neglected you? Why are you acting like a bitch, with your little strength? You are simply a girl. Come out of the battlefield? As this? On the training ground, Kaido stood where he was, receiving bullets from Bullet's fists. His face and chest were continuously and slightly dented by the fists. However, Kaido has no intention of fighting back. Except for a slight shaking, Kaido didn't let Bullet move forward. You are such a bastard. Stop talking. Bullet raised his fist and punched Kaido on the chin. Shut up, you. There are no soldiers in the world who are so wordy. You can survive on the battlefield, it is not because of this mouth. Facing Kaido's taunt, Bullet is not to be outdone. This broken mouth is really good for begging for mercy. Because Roger was not ready yet, the Beast's pirates were waiting for news, and the two had time to practice duel after they returned from Cocoa Ridge Island. But obviously, the current Bullet can't even break through Kaido's defense. This result get Bullet upset. But fortunately, Bullet himself understands that Kazan is letting Kaido exercise himself. Naturally, Bullet is grateful. However, during this period of time, the private friendship between Bullet and Kaido has improved a lot. In the Air Pirates, many members have similar experiences, and it is easy to draw people closer. Both Kaido and Bullet, who debuted as young soldiers, both come from chaotic countries where wars frequently occur. Both were forced to become soldiers because of their status as orphans, and they both had the experience of serving in the army. The age group who went to the army is also similar. Both are under 10 years old. Therefore, the two can talk about it. However, when it comes to training, facing Kaido, Bullet is so angry. Can't wait to kill Kaido with one punch. The reason is also very simple. Kaido is really too strong, crushing Bullet in all aspects. At the same time, Bullet is currently very energetic, but he is still a little ambitious in his thinking. He wants to skip the basic training and learn more outstanding fighting skills, such as hockey and so on. However, Bullet is the person Kazan appointed for Kaido to train, so how could he do something that would encourage growth? Of course, start with the basic addition of fists and feet. It turns out that the current Bullet is too weak. In front of Kaido, he is nothing. Totally a clown ridiculed from all sides. Certainly. In fact, it's the same in the original book. On the ship of the Roger pirates, the news came out that Bullet could be tied with Rayleigh and Jabba. In the entire pirate group, Bullet's combat effectiveness was only lost to Captain Roger. But it's all bullshit. What qualifications does a 15-year-old soldier have to challenge those who have already reached the peak? It's not bad if you don't get pinched to death with a finger. Still a tie? It's just that Rayleigh and others deliberately released water in order not to dampen Bullet's confidence. This also leads to Bullet's continued pride. He thought that as long as his strength improved a little bit, he could be equal to Roger. Roger's combat power was also the top in the sea. As long as he could defeat Roger, he would crush all the strong men in the sea. After learning that Roger was terminally ill, Bullet was disappointed. He couldn't figure out that the strongest person in the world would be defeated by the disease, so he made the decision to leave the pirates, and then debuted as a rookie pirate. The results have all been seen. The fledgling Bullet, tied with Crocodile, who is also a new pirate. Crocodile, almost a savage. Now that I met the young Bullet, Kazan will certainly not let it grow freely. That's why Kaido was asked to torture him in another way. Kaido didn't care a bit about Bullet punching him in the face. He glanced at him with disgust, and said, "It's really weak. Forget it. Things that haven't improved. We pack up and go. Go to Zuo. HMPH, sooner or later I will kill you." Bullet was obviously dissatisfied, but complied. He has already made a secret decision in his heart. One day, he will be forced to go out of his life. Let that boss Kazan do his best too. This time, the Beast's pirates went to Zou Island without any other help from the flying pirates. The Beast's pirates acted entirely on their own. However, Kazan took advantage of Roger's psychology of finding the coordinate text, and let the Roger pirates serve as external assistants. Anyway, if the goal is not reached, Roger cannot get the subsequent coordinate text. It also forced Roger and others to pay their respects. But that's someone else's business, and Kazan doesn't want to manage such small things. Soon, Kaido left Wanokuni after saying goodbye to Kazan. Pirates Station. The scene suddenly quieted down. Kazan snapped his fingers and flew towards the Tianyue clan's land while driving the flame cloud. It seems that Tianyueshi over there, with the help of Tianyueshui, has gradually gotten used to the current worldview, and is no longer the person who doesn't want to talk too much. Since he let him take off his defenses, it was also time for Kazan, in the mouth of Tianyueshi, to get some information. Above the flame cloud, Kazan is calculating. One of the purposes of his visit to Wanokuni this time is to inspect the progress of Kaido Beast's pirates. For now. Very good. As long as you report to the Furry Principality to take it, the infrastructure of Beast's pirates will be fully prepared, which is more luxurious than in the original book. As for the future 3 disasters Big Kanban and so on, loyalty needs to spend some time to accumulate. Jin, for example, is still a child. I don't know where the future Marie Joyce was found, and then sent it to Vegapunk for research, and at this time, Vegapunk is still working alone in a certain corner of the world. It was after the Ohara incident that Vegapunk joined Marie Joyce. Kazan is not in a hurry to find these future talents, because at present, there is no news of them in the sea. And there is no doubt about it. After 2 days of Kazan's thinking, he found, as far as 4 emperors are concerned, the difficulty of forming a group is different. 1. Beast's pirates. Because in Wanokuni, there are Kazan, Shiki, Redfield and others layout, mining, and site many years ago. Wanokuni is already in the bag, and Kaido is more inclined to take over this site. Therefore, the difficulty of building a Beast's pirates team was not high, and everything went very smoothly. Now it is the most powerful force under the flying pirates. If the Furry Principality is taken down again this time, the entire pirate group will rise to a new level. It is quite normal to become the largest branch of the flying pirates in the future. 2. Whitebeard pirates. For so many years in the past, Newgate mixed in the sea and rocks pirate, and every once in a while, anonymously gave a fortune to his hometown. But in fact, the Sphinx people, facing the unsigned money, actually knew that Newgate did it. Just like the name of the village in Kokoyashi Village, everyone knows that Nami is a thief, stealing on the sea, in order to pay off debts for existence, but for Nami's behavior, the villagers in Kokoyashi Village are grateful, but they all acquiesce, unaware. The residents of the Sphinx treat Newgate much like Kokoyashi treats Nami. It's just that because the money came from the pirates, Mo gave Newgate a psychological pressure. No one mentioned it. Therefore, when Newgate broke away from the Brutal Rocks pirate, under the authorization of Kazan, after Newgate established the Whitebeard pirate group, the establishment of the group in the Sphinx Sea area did not encounter much hindrance. On the contrary, with the announcement of the Whitebeard pirates taking over the territory, there are still many people around to support. The opportunity to attract talents should not be obtained. Therefore, the power of the Whitebeard pirates is growing steadily. 9 snake pirates. Shiki is the queen herself, and all the 9 snake pirates recruit are female warriors from Amazon Lily, who belong to the direct line of troops from the entire kingdom. The difficulty of the team is the least of them. This is the last thing Kazan needs to worry about. Linlin pirates. Because Linlin is facing Elbaf, the kingdom of giants. The giants are born with great power, which is the hardest nut to crack. Although with the help of brothers Molly and Mork, Crane is also always by Linlin's side, offering advice at any time, but it is not so easy to win. At the same time, Linlin didn't have the idea of using her offspring to build a regiment. She just gave birth to 3 sons for Kazan. Therefore, the development of the Linlin pirates is the slowest among the 4 emperors. After thinking about it, Kazan currently plans to do a sort. The beast's pirates have been rearranged, so there is no need to worry about it. Shiki cultivated a direct line of troops in Wangguo, and there will not be too many accidents. Newgate itself has prestige in the Sphinx Sea, so there is no need to worry about establishing the Whitebeard pirates. So, after inspecting the situation of the beast's pirates, Kazan decided to let the other pirates go. Next stop. It has been confirmed that it is Elba Hand where Linlin is. All the combat power of the 4 emperors' pirates will be collectively mobilized after Kazan understands them all, and when gathered together, they will be the most reckless force in the sea. Even, the foundation of naval headquarters can be shaken. Soon, Kazan rides the flame cloud to the Tianyue family's residence. At Tianyue time, Tianyueshue was already waiting in the courtyard. So, take a look at the world 800 years ago. What secrets are hidden? Tell me, what has changed in the world in the past 800 years? When they came to the Tianyue family's clan, Kazan asked directly when facing Tianyue. Because Tianyueshue and Tianyueshi have had a lot of exchanges in the past few days, and even, in order to let Tianyueshi get used to the current era earlier, Tianyueshue even taught some basic knowledge like a primary school teacher. Geography, humanities, climate. The purpose is to let Tianyueshi, a traveler 800 years ago, fully understand the changes brought about by the times. In general, Tianyue is not a child, but also a well-educated lady of the Tianyue family, so she learns knowledge very quickly and can easily get a passing grade. For today's world, we already have a preliminary understanding. Therefore, when Kazan saw Tianyue, he didn't need too much foreshadowing. He can just get straight to the point, facing Kazan's questioning. Tianyue still thought about it, sorted out his thoughts, and said, "My time fruit can travel to a certain time node in the future, but time fruit does not have space. And I traveled through the time node, 800 years later. But the location is in the first half of the Grand Line, Paradise. 800. At that time, before I crossed over, I actually saw the outline of Wanokuni. Under the explanation of Tianyue-shi, Kazan, Tianyue-shui, they all know a few 180 points about Shishiguo's ability. Those who have the ability to travel from time to time can travel through time, to a certain time point in the future. But always fruit, cannot shuttle space. Up to now, the time of Tianyue has indeed crossed time, but not the place. This is the limitation of the time fruit ability. Only for time, not for space, so. 800 years ago, if you stood at location A, at the time of the sky and the moon, then, after crossing, you will be at location A, 800 years later. Change of time. The space does not change. And at this moment, according to what Tianyueshi said, she saw the outline of Wanokuni in her eyes 800 years ago, 1 second before she traveled, and her location was almost at Wanokuni, but after the time travel, the place where Tianyueshi opened her eyes, that it's on the Grand Line, the first half, the Paradise. The exact location is unknown. In the future, Tianyue can only use various boats to go to the Wanokuni in her mouth. That's it. Hearing this, Kazan was also a little confused. If what Tianyue said is true, the Wanokuni of 800 years ago was not in the Grand Line's new world. It's a paradise in the first half of the Grand Line. The whole location has changed. Hiss. Kazan also had to take this information seriously. Kazan immediately thought of a certain piece of knowledge that he had seen in the book before. Wanokuni was called the Country of Gold in ancient times, and the Golden City, Shandora, itself does not produce gold. The huge amount of gold in the Golden City is actually transported from other places. The gold transported from other places created the gold capital. In today's era, the surrounding area of Wanokuni has been dug into a country with an inland sea. The inland sea can also be said to be a ring-shaped mine pit, and there are no gold veins anymore. Only the center of the island is left, because the only seastone wine iron mine in the sea. This is unique in the sea. The land of gold, Wanokuni. The capital of gold, Shandora. So, actually the ancient Wanokuni, actually in Shandora, Gaia Island, are together. Most, too, nearby, or near Alabasta, even. Gaia, both Wanokuni and Shandora, may be an island, a country. Big kingdom? A huge kingdom linked together? Because of continental drift, part of it separated? If all the information Tianyueshi said is true, there is no doubt that, due to a certain factor, Wanokuni moved the entire island from the park in the first half of the Grand Line to the New World in the second half of the Grand Line. It is the transport island of the Demon Clan, the transport island of the Whale, or the transport island of the Elephant Master. Anyway, no matter how it moves. Wanokuni 800 years ago, in paradise. 800 years later, in the New World. Wanokuni, somehow came to the other side of the Grand Line. Yes. Absolutely the other side, and it's the opposite. Kazan thought immediately. In the original book, the protagonist Luffy, the Straw Hat Pirates, enters the route of the Grand Line. First half. 1 Whiskey Peak, 2 Little Garden, 3 Drum Island, 4 Alabasta, Gaia Island. Second half. 1 Punk Hazard, 2 Dress Rosa, 3 Zo, 4 Wangwo, 5 Wanokuni. In fact, the Great Hang Road is divided into 2 sections by the Red Line. The first half and the second half. The Grand Line also circles the entire world for 1 week. And what happened to the Straw Hat Pirates? Gaia Island. Wanokuni. Both are the 5th island in the Grand Line. Correspondingly, it is also the absolute center point of the first half and the second half of the Grand Line. In other words, today's Gaia Island is completely opposite to Wanokuni. Geographical location, switched to the real world. Just like China, the opposite is Argentina, in general. Now, get word that Wanokuni has been transported to the other side of the world. Kazan couldn't bear to be a little surprised. But he also quickly accepted this setting. Considering that this is a migrant manga, it wouldn't be surprising what happened. After all, Kazan himself, as a lion fruit ability user, has already done similar things. Bagpipe Island was originally an island of South Blue. But after several years of changes, South Blue's Bagpipe Island has been moved away from South Blue, and has been moored in the first half of the Grand Line, Paradise, above Gaia Island for several years. Then, it was transported to New World, the upper minister of the Hachinosu Sea area. Now, Kazan intends to move Bagpipe Island to the end of the Grand Line, above Rafel. So, for continental movement or handling such a thing. Although it sounds unbelievable, it is a bit appalling. But, as a participant in a real event, Kazan can easily agree with this statement. Ancient Wanokuni, on Gaia Island, are nearby. 9 times out of 10 what Tianyue said was true. The entire island of Wanokuni was transported, from the paradise to the New World from 800 years ago to the present time. It's an interesting statement. Kazan said with a smile, it turns out that Wanokuni was transported, to New World. So, is there any other important information? Information that has a huge difference between ancient times and the present? Information that surprises you the most. Seeing Kazan's calm face, he didn't feel a little strange. Tianyue couldn't believe it. Such a shocking thing, he actually accepted it so quickly. Tianyue himself has been thinking about this question for half a year. She couldn't figure out why she came here. Wanokuni is a huge island, and in the whole world, it is a huge continent. Result. In a daze, I ran from the original location, Paradise, to the New World thousands of miles away. So far. Isn't it surprising that a fixed island is not a person who can move freely at any time? Faced with Kazan's nod of approval, Tianyue said helplessly, also, the Grand Line you mentioned, the first half of the park, the second half of the park, and the surrounding calm belt, actually didn't exist in my time. 800 years ago, no Grand Line. 800 years ago, there was no calm belt. After all, Tianyueshi is also a knowledgeable eldest lady of the family. Therefore, it is counted as a high-achieving student 800 years ago. He also knows a lot about world geography. Hearing this, Kazan's face finally changed a little. However, Tianyue did not stop, but continued with a somewhat eager tone. At that time, there was no such thing as East, West, South, North Blue. Ancient does not have such a complicated geographical environment as modern. Now the so-called East, West, South, North, and the four seas, in ancient times, were originally connected in pairs. The geography in ancient times was not what it is now. At that time, there was no Grand Line. Magnetic pointer is also a new thing that I have never seen before. The voice fell in the sky and the moon. Tian Yushui was so shocked that she was speechless. The world seems to have undergone extraordinary human great changes. If it were someone else, Tianyueshui would definitely think it was a fake, but Tianyueshi was the ancestor of the Tianyue family who traveled over 800 years ago, and traveled to this era with a mission, so she didn't need to be joking. It can only show that the world has indeed undergone tremendous changes. Kazan mused to the side. I have to say that Kazan was also somewhat refreshed today. And according to what Tianyue said, the Grand Line is a brand new route that appeared only after the time of the sky and the moon crossed 800 years ago. So, Kazan guessed, maybe there is only one inference. Grand Line is actually a man-made creation between 800 to 700 years. Like the Panama Canal, it was man-made. Kazan knows that the entire Grand Line is actually composed of the inverted mountain at the starting point, the seawater belt in the middle route, the calm belt around the route, and various islands on the route. The magnetic field on the Grand Line is chaotic, and the direction can only be indicated by the magnetic pointer. All kinds of things, there are too many anomalies that go against nature. Abnormal, unnatural, and the weather and sky on the Grand Line are capricious and not at all natural. Plus, upside down the mountain is the world, the only passage to enter the Grand Line. It itself is a straight canal, dug out by humans directly leading to the Grand Line. And it is still a scientific use of ocean currents to create an anti-physical canal that goes upstream. What's even more strange is that the magnetic field of the Grand Line connects islands one after another, and each magnetic field, like a fixed point, points to the next island without any deviation or disorder. Magnetism, it seems, is the only rule for the Grand Line to move forward. It's like someone designed a maze. Only follow the magnetic guidance to reach the next level. Next island. The first level, Sabodi Dajima. The first half of the Grand Line is the paradise, the magnetic field of all the islands. In the end converge on the last island, Sabodi Island. The second level, Shuishen Star Island. The second half of the Grand Line is New World, the magnetic field of all islands. In the end converge on the final island, Mercury Island. And the last island with a magnetic field in the Grand Line, after Waterstar Island. You have entered the end of the Grand Line. The magnetic field in that sea area is completely chaotic, without any rules. There can no longer be magnetic field props to point the way. So, here we go. Hidden levels, Rafel. And Rafel is hiding in the last huge ocean of chaotic magnetic fields. There are only 4 crimson historical texts. The coordinates of Rafel can only be indicated by connecting 4 coordinates. Antonio Gaudi, a master architect in his previous life, said, "Curves belong to God, straight lines belong to humans." Grand Line, water first before Star Island. All routes are actually connected by the magnetic force of straight lines. Between 2 points, the straight line is short. In essence, magnetism is the shortest straight line between 2 islands. At the same time, on the holy throne of Marie Joyce, the positions of all the islands of the Grand Line are inlaid with gems, and these islands are constructed together except for a sea chart, which serves as the background decoration of the throne of the void. Among them, the end point of the chart drawn on the void throne. It's Waterstar Island, and the void throne, cast together by 20 ancient kingdoms, a long time ago. Just to say, all these magnetic islands, in the very early days, it existed on the map. Grand Line. It is like a navigation route artificially created for a certain purpose after precise calculation. It took a long time. It turns out that the Grand Line is an artificial creation designed by ancient humans. And now, According to what Tianue said, the Grand Line didn't exist 800 years ago. At the same time, now almost everyone in the world has never doubted that the Grand Line is a man-made creation. Kazan has traveled for so long, and has seen almost all strong men. And none of them doubted the origin of the Grand Line. Everyone agrees that the Grand Line is naturally formed. It is a natural creation that exists in this world. It is a normal geographical environment, in everyone's cognition. The Grand Line, itself exists, can only explain. The Grand Line was suddenly created in the 100-year history that disappeared. And that vanished 100 years. No one knows what happened. Everyone, it seems that some kind of force has suddenly taken away their memories. Then, the world lost this piece of historical information. The 100 years of history that has disappeared is actually a memory that has been excluded. History disappears out of thin air, therefore. The only truth is recorded in those historical texts. So, if you connect all the key information, Kazan thought for a moment, in fact, I already have the answer in my heart. 1. Grand Line created artificially. 2. The 100-year-old man-made creation that disappeared. 3. The entire Grand Line, the only island without magnetism is Rafel. 4. Raftel's owner, Joey Boy. 5. The master of the historical text, Joy. 6. A big secret treasure connected together. Grand secret treasure, it's just, Grand Line itself. And the man who created this route, the core character is Joey Boy. Because Rafel is the most important island of the Grand Line. It is a hidden island that belongs only to Joey Boy. I am Marie Joy, all world truth knowers. In fact, there is no way to know the location of Rafel. If it is so, Rafel, what a big joke. A big joke created only by Joey Boy. Yes. Think about it. Maybe the Grand Line was created by many people. Maybe there are many engineers, and they all participated in this grand project. But Joey Boy is the only one who has mastered a certain core technology. Grand Line is like a giant clearance game. Only Joey Boy, the core designer, made a repair in the entire game program. This patch. Only the Joy Boys know. A clearance strategy, the main text of history. A final treasure, Rafel. So, start with an artificially created Grand Line. The upside-down mountain at the starting point was dug by Joy Boy. History text walkthrough is provided by Joy Boy. The game treasure reward is left by Joey Boy. How this game is played. Let players enter the map of Grand Line. And once the player enters the route, everyone has actually entered the game. It's just that some people ignore that they are playing. Their identities are human beings, not a player. It's just that those who care will become players, chasing the end of the game, because of the secret treasure. Follow the directions. Find the treasure set by Joy Boy. Rafel. But Rafel, in fact, is not a treasure in the actual sense. Not berry, not strength, not fame, not power. Instead, Rafel just used a sentence like, "Thank you for your patronage." To sum up everything about the whole game, dear players, when you step into the Grand Line, you are standing on top of the big secret treasure chest. How about it? Isn't this scavenger hunt fun? You have come to Rafel, the final island. Does the process make you happy? Actually, no matter where you step into the Grand Line, the beginning is the end. The big secret is the Grand Line. It's already in your hands. How about it? Grand Line, the design is very exciting. Thank you for your patronage. Congratulations. Hehe. It ends up being empty. Just a blank slate. For those who only love treasure. For those who are utilitarian in everything they do. For those who enter the Grand Line for profit. The game is chased to the end, and if it is found that what is left is a pile of bullshit, you will definitely feel that your IQ has been insulted. Lousy has been chasing treasure for decades? You said, thank you for your patronage. What's the meaning? What the hell are you kidding? And for those designated by Joey Boy, are simply those who are D people. When they reached the finish line, they saw something different again. Who is the D family? It is a group of people with a D in their name who are going to find their ancestors. In other words, they are a group of people with talent for games. Thank you for your patronage, from Joy Boy. Some people from the D family can understand the true meaning of it. Then, the treasure hunting Rafel game that was already over, with the participation of the D family, they will start another final hidden level outside of Rafel. The final level, and only the D clan as the designated players will enjoy it and continue playing. Now that After Rafel announced, the world will be turned upside down again. The establishment of Grand Line has turned the whole world upside down. The announcement of Rafel will turn the whole world upside down again. Everything. We have to wait until the arrival of the real, chosen player. That his players just want to curse. Dog games can only be designed by dogs. What kind of bastard lunatic would change the geographical environment of the entire world to create a copy of a treasure hunting game? A dungeon map called Grand Line has been created. Lousy is busy surviving on this route, busy surviving. I'll play your dog treasure hunt. Don't have that time. Found it and it was just a bunch of bullshit. Joey Boy is so boring. Then, ordinary treasure hunting pirates. Pirates of Clan D. The two groups will inevitably have polarized thinking. If the Ds don't write the Rafel joke, it is destined that the world will become a big joke. Think here. Kazan couldn't help but smile inwardly. He thought that before he crossed over, he was also a game player. As for the various games in the previous life, there are many ways to play them. Some people just create game accounts for the purpose of building equipment and hacking everything. Some people play the game just because there are many girls in the game and it is convenient to make appointments. Some people just wander around to pass the time. But there is always someone who, with no distractions, really loves a game. They are crazy about the game, treat games as life. What is the purpose of people playing the game Grand Line? Everyone has different motivations for playing games. Anyway, in the world of pirates, there are not many people who are as nervous as Roger and Luffy. Both are fanciful, unrealistic ideas. What you say can easily make people around you think that you are talking nonsense. But it's fun. It's like a game. Others on the Grand Line complain about how to survive and how to find the treasure map, while Roger and Luffy walk on the Grand Line with smiling faces every day. On a dangerous road, it's like playing, clamoring for freedom all day long. And cha-cha. Roger, Luffy, such a person of the D family. It is Joey Boy, the game developer, the designated player of choice. Certainly. The rocks have actually arrived at Rafel. But he wasn't in the mood to write Rafel. Rocks only wants to rule the world with Nika's power. So he was backlashed by Nika and died. Roger? Because I cleared the game too early, it turned out that the last hidden copy of the game was not opened. I can only sigh that I came early. And Luffy. It happened to be rocks, Roger. These pioneers pushed forward the times. After Rafel, perfect time for the last hidden level to surface. Therefore, in the original book, only Luffy is the chosen one chosen by Joey Boy. No wonder Roger said that he came early and shouldn't have arrived at Rafel in this era. The root cause of this is, Roger took his own life to pass the level, and finally cleared the copy of Looking for Rafel, which he thought was the end point, but he found out that because the time has not arrived. I can't activate the last clearance artifact. Yes, game engineer Joey Boy didn't consider the game vulnerabilities. This game called Grand Line does not have the artifact equipment for clearing the last hidden copy in any era. So, see Circle Calendar, this era. Even if Roger arrives at Rafel, and has the intention to open the final hidden level. But because the real time has not come, the artifact for clearing the game is not activated. Thereby, even if the final boss is right in front of us, and there is no artifact to open the way, Roger will definitely not be able to defeat the final boss. Standing on Rafel's land, Roger can only stare blankly. In the end, the big secret treasure level belonging to Roger is over. And it turned out, Roger just played a lonely. Roger can cry without laughing. And according to Roger's personality, of course he also wants to meet the game designer, Joey Boy. I wish I could have a face-to-face with Joey Boy and have a friendly chat. By the way, give Joey Boy a big mouth. Roger, you got tricked by Joey Boy. At the same time, Roger is a person who wants to open the final hidden level. When you know your life is short, you can only send out the head of your own One Piece. In order to motivate more people to participate in the game. The classic quotations of the One Piece game salesman will be said by Roger with a smile on the execution platform. Want my treasure? I can give you everything you want, go find it. I put all my treasures there. In this way, the world welcomes the advent of the era of the great pirate. An hour after talking with Tanu, Kazan chose to go again. A sakura field in Wanokuni, Kazan called Morley. He asked Molly to send himself to Elbaf with the fruit of the door. There is where Linlin is entrenched, although Kazan already has the ability to teleport the fruit. But the premise is that the coordinates need to be set correctly on the territory of each force. At present, he can only move while arranging coordinates. Only by traveling all over the world can it be transmitted to every corner of the world at any time. Now, since I have learned the secret of the great secret treasure, Kazan was even more convinced. My thoughts and the paths taken by Joey Boy are completely different. Kazan has no interest in promoting a joke for Joey Boy. Roger, Luffy, can be the designated player for Joey Boy. But Kazan definitely won't. So, Rafel, already under the control of Kazan, will end up being a real joke. And where Kazan is going now is the land of giants. Elbaf. Elbaf is a kingdom of giants located in New World. It is called the most powerful country in the world. The kingdom of giants has many towns and villages. Most of the giant warriors come to Elbaf's warrior village. They are very rough giants. 1. At the same time, the giant family has a powerful force that surpasses ordinary people. This group is destined to make Elbaf's overall strength reach a terrifying intensity. And Kazan's. The Beast's pirates, the 9 Snake pirates, and the Whitebeard pirates are all progressing smoothly. Linlin faces Elbaf, although with the help of Crane, Molly Mock, Shiki and others, the process of expansion is also very difficult. After all, Elbaf is too big, but everything can be over. Kazan took the Paramecia fruit from the hands of the Swordsman 5 elders, and the fruit ability was completely preserved. Among ghost slaves, there is Saul, the great prince from Elbaf. In terms of seniority, Thor is the uncle of Loki, the king of giants, and also the orthodox royal family of Elbaf. Many years ago, the Swordsman 5 elders united with the corrupted members of the giant family and set up a plan to kill him. There are so many lucky secrets in it. Today, Saul, the king of the giant family, is unblocked by Kazan. Think like a normal person. Saul also learned that the current Elbaf has actually cooperated with Marie Joyce, and even sent giant warriors to naval headquarters, which let Saul know that he was actually killed by the joint design of Marie Joyce and Loki. And there is corruption within the giant family. As long as Kazan, the master of the ghost slave, daddy would move his mouth. Thor, the king of giants hundreds of years ago, will reappear in Elbaf. The return of kingship. It will help Linlin achieve true domination. Certainly. Thor is a ghost slave, form similar to impure world reincarnation. His existence can no longer be described by a simple person. To be more precise, ghost slaves are actually another way of existence of dead human beings in the land of the Underworld. It's just that it can be visualized by the ability to smash the fruit. Soon, the door of space opens with the fruit of the door. Kazan disappeared in Wanokuni. With Saul as a support, I believe it will not be very difficult to rule Elbaf. As long as Elbaf is dealt with, the 4 emperors will lay the foundation for everything. Enough to face the war of this era, and time. Also, along with one important thing, began to pass away. In the blink of an eye, a few years passed. The time is now. It's the Sea Circle calendar -98. This year is the most special year in the past 100 years. Because, since Rox uttered his last words in the Valley of the Gods, that big secret treasure has been captured by a man named Roger, and that man, under the hype in the newspapers, has also officially boarded the throne of One Piece. At the same time, One Piece will be executed by Marine in front of the whole world this year. One Piece's execution song, as the most important event. A truly detonated era has officially kicked off its prelude. At this time, night, East Blue, Logue Town, Tavern. Holding the wine bottle in his hand, Roger stood on the edge of the bar and poured wine into his mouth, with a very lonely look on his face. By his side is Pluton Rayleigh. The two of them took over the entire tavern. In the originally lively tavern, there is no third person at the moment, and the atmosphere is a bit abnormally quiet. Today's Roger, known as the One Piece King. But Roger himself has all kinds of helplessness for this title. Yes. After he personally went to Rafel, Roger also experienced the mood of the rocks in the Valley of the Gods when they fought. Rock's curses like, "You 2 traitors of the D-Clan," are still ringing in Roger's ears. And what's even more sad, every time Roger takes a step forward, he will find that he is completely controlled by Kazan. Kazan is like a black hand behind the scenes. Take control of what happened. Everything happened according to the steps it should have. In the very beginning, the title of One Piece came from Kazan. Moreover, on Kazan's site, there are 4 coordinate texts in Zou, the Fishmen Island, Wanokuni, and Elbaf. In other words, Rafel is Kazan's back garden. The kind that you can go whenever you want. and Roger, as a personal experiencer of treasure hunting. The experience is completely different. Back then, Roger searched for historical texts and arrived at the last island of the Grand Line, Shui Shensheng Island. He found that the magnetic field would be disrupted in the future, and the Grand Line could no longer sail normally, so he guessed whether there is another kind of magnetic calendar in the world. This magnetism will lead to the final island. And not long ago, after coming to the island of Kokolishi in Wanokuni, Kazan accurately took Zouwu as a condition, allowing Roger to get a piece of coordinate text. From then on, the Roger pirates were out of control. He found out the coordinate text piece by piece. The scary thing is, the text of these coordinates are all on Kazan's territory. In other words, if Kazan doesn't release the text of the coordinates to Roger, Roger has no right to get involved with Rafel at all. The title of Thief King, it was also Kazan who installed Roger behind his back. It's so helpless. Really, Roger smiled wryly. In fact, the reason is also very simple. Whether it is in the original book or the current era, Roger's pirate group is a force with a very small number of people. This kind of pirate group, combined with Roger's character like a rat on the sea, encounters Marine who takes the initiative to run away. The influence of the pirate group is destined not to be too great. And after Roger arrived at Rafel, who would have known he became One Piece? Will Marie Joy's naval headquarters help Roger spread the word? It's too late to block this information, so there is only one truth. It was Roger himself who took the initiative to release his reputation. He made the news of finding Rafel known to the world, and he became the One Piece King. Otherwise, it's just a vast sea, just a group of pirates landing on an island normally. And now, it didn't take long for Roger to find Rafel's. He hasn't decided whether to spread the word to the world. The fact that Roger found the big secret treasure has become a super event that shakes the entire sea. Of course Roger knew, Kazan was behind everything. So, the so-called big secret treasure was a conspiracy set up by Kazan from the very beginning. Roger was not only tricked by Joey Boy. At the same time, Kazan used the big secret treasure as bait to trick Roger again. At this moment Roger was a little lost. On the one hand, facing the real history, it is a game designed by Joey Boy that spans hundreds of years, which is a huge and shocking joke. On the one hand, facing the current era, Kazan has become another behind-the-scenes player who dominates everything after Joey Boyle. Kazan hid even deeper. Under the pressure of the two slaves, Roger was also a little at a loss. He can't analyze it. What kind of monster is Kazan? Is it an enemy? Is it a friend? Do you want to follow Joey Boy's thoughts and take the next step? And this decision is destined to fall into the trap set by Kazan. One is a trap from ancient times. One is a snare from modern-day snares. The point is, Roger had to drill. Rayleigh was very silent while drinking. He knew that Roger's life was actually running out, and after getting the big secret treasure, it was like a demon wind, blowing him to the location. Roger, maybe we can go to Kazan and get pure. In this way, you will be able to see the final result of the great secret treasure event one day. During the Valley of the Gods incident, Roger and others learned from rocks that Kazan possessed pure gold. Pure gold is the one-of-a-kind treasure that can put terminal illnesses on hold. Pure gold? Roger shook his head and said, since Kazan pushed me to the throne of One Piece, he will naturally not let any accidents happen, and, even within the Flying Pirates, pure gold will not be easily given to others. Kazan is a man who does exactly what he planned and will not be influenced by any outside influence to change his decision. I even feel that Kazan has learned about my terminal illness. Even my terminal illness is part of Kazan's plan. Otherwise, he would not have chosen to let us collect 4 coordinate texts at this point in time. In the final analysis, Yizun is also behind the scenes to catch up with the progress. Hearing this, Rayleigh was completely silent. After a long time, Rayleigh said, if that's the case, Kazan is too terrifying, omniscient and omnipotent. Roger said, I should call him and ask him, what is it for? Now, Roger seems to have made up his mind about his future. He took a phone bug, walked around a curtain, and walked towards the endless dark wine cellar. Logue Town Port. Oro Jackson. At this moment, all the members of the Roger Pirates sat on the deck in a somewhat silent atmosphere. Some of them sat on the ground, while others leaned against the fence, looking up at the sky, smoking a cigarette. The wind is a bit strong tonight, blowing everyone's hair a little messy. But more than people ignored it and waited patiently for a result. Previously, Captain Gold D. Roger, Mate Silver Rayleigh. The two went to Logue Town, saying they were going to discuss the future of the pirates. This is a big deal about the Roger pirates. Even a pistachio like Buggy can't laugh at the moment. He sat next to Shanks, waiting together. Waiting for Roger's return. However, there are still people who can't help but ask questions about appreciation. The talker is Light Sukiyaki. Kazuki Sukiyaki is the last general of Wanokuni and the father of Kazuki Odin. However, after Wanokuni was ruled by the Beast's pirates, the Kazuki family had no room to survive. His son, Kazuki Odin, brought a series of retainers of the Kazuki family from the world disappeared mysteriously. Kazuki Sukiyaki, who was living in seclusion, was naturally found by Kaido, but he did not choose to kill it, but threw it to the Roger pirates. In disguise, expel Sukiyaki from Wanokuni forever. After all, Kazuki Sukiyaki is an old man whose mentality has been completely destroyed. For Beast's pirates, the tradition of respecting the old and loving the young must be followed. So it happens that the Roger pirates need a person who understands ancient characters, so it's better to be a good person. Anyway, Sukiyaki also understands ancient characters, and can contribute to helping Kazan's layout on Roger's side. Send people exactly to Rafel. Jabba. Where will our future go? Asked Kazuki Sukiyaki. Faced with the questioning, Jabba actually didn't know. Roger and Rayleigh are discussing this. We'll just be here waiting for them to come back. The sea breeze ruffled Jabba's hair. As Roger's right arm, he knows a lot and is upset. Because, Roger pirates, I've really reached my limit. First of all, the Captain Roger is terminally ill, with little life left, and may run out of fuel at any time, and the entire pirate group is built around Roger. If a pirate group does not have a backbone, then this pirate group will exist in name only. Secondly, Rafel has been found by everyone, but unfortunately, everyone arrived at the wrong time, which will lead to, for a long time in the future, the Roger pirates will have no other goals except to wait, and can only hang out on the sea. This sense of emptiness is very much like the sage time afterwards. Now, the pirates have no common expectations, and will gradually become a mob. Besides, the situation at sea does not allow the Roger pirates to do more. The flying pirate group that dominates everything still exists. Because Kazan. It is doomed that the Roger pirates have no possibility of improving the team's power. After all, it was Kazan who sent the Roger pirates a mission to find Rafel, and now that Roger has completed the mission, from Kazan's standpoint, there's no need for the Roger pirates to be doing anything else. The following things are no longer suitable for Roger pirates to participate in. And if you still want to jump on the sea, Kaji may choose to play tail. The small team of the Roger pirates really can't bear the behemoth. The man who really controls all the coordinate texts is a bit scary. At last. Today, World Economic News has reported the deeds of the Roger pirates. In the pen of the big news Morgans, the Roger pirates are known as the pirate heroes who created the miracle of the sea. I can't even take off my hat. This leads to Roger pirates became the target of all Marines, all pirates. Marine wants to capture everyone in the Roger pirates. Pirates trying to pry Rafel from the Roger pirates. In short, the Roger pirates are in big trouble. It's like being wanted globally. Although I am not afraid of those little thieves and Marines, but the situation is like this, trouble will continue to find the door. As for Roger himself, the bounty has soared to 5,564,800,000 berry. World number 1. The future of the pirates is actually doomed. Destined to hidden, he can only wait for time to weaken his name. Ah. The captain is back. Buggy suddenly stood up and said. Shanks also stood up, followed the direction Buggy pointed, and everyone saw Roger and Rayleigh returning at the same time. During the walk. Ah-ha-ha-ha-ha, Roger's laughter spread throughout the harbor. After he finished calling Kazan, he seemed to have made some kind of decision. Now, facing all the members of the pirate group, it was time to declare Roger as the captain and make the final decision. Join Roger and Rayleigh aboard the Oro Jackson. The atmosphere gradually became warm from dull. Captain Roger, have you made a decision yet? Where is our next destination? Boss, do you want to find the 3 ancient weapons? I think this goal can be pursued. Hey, listen to the boss. In front of the members, you speak to me. Roger collected himself. In retrospect, everything is a miracle. I am still alive and able to make it this far. I can't thank you enough. Roger laughed. Jabba quickly opened his hands, with a tense expression. No, what are you talking about? So serious, bastard captain. How embarrassing. Stupid. Idiot, 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 said the others. On the deck, Roger sat on a wine barrel, showing his iconic smile. Then, I'm going to say it. Come on. I've made up my mind. Jabba clenched his fists, excited under the sunglasses. The other members can also see that Captain Roger is different from when he got off the ship to discuss. His condition just got better. This is a good news. Everyone stood upright, waiting for Roger to announce the plan. Roger gritted his teeth again and flashed his trademark smile. Then, Roger pirates. Disband. Disband. Immediately, everyone in the pirate group covered their heads, with expressions of disbelief. Everyone was stunned at this moment. Unexpectedly, Roger actually announced such a news. Wind. Blow even bigger at this time, and in the next few days. The Oro Jackson still sailed in the waters of East Blue for a few days, and then randomly found an island with a town. After Roger said a few words in the ear of Rayleigh, the oldest and most experienced man, he carried a backpack off the boat. Unexpectedly, decades of time have passed quietly. This scene, just like when Roger first invited Rayleigh on board when he was young. Empty hands, only carrying a bag of backpacks. In the previous backpack, only some dry food. But at the moment in the backpack, Roger accepted a large amount of medicine from the ship's Dr. Crocus. His illness is at an advanced stage, but the farewell between men, no one shed tears. Because Roger announced to everyone in the past few days that he will not die. It's not going to die, but of course it's parting with a smile. And even Rayleigh, I don't know why Roger made this change. Rayleigh just knew. In that dark wine cellar, Roger called Kazan. Rayleigh didn't know a word about what the content was, and Roger refused to answer. And after coming back, in the end, it became what it is now. Roger Pirates, disbanded. Shanks held the treasured sword presented by Roger, Ace, in his hand, and was a little weeping. It seems that after one phone call, Roger has no intention of letting his so-called son compete for the throne of One Piece. About 300 months later, a shocking news spread throughout the offices of the admirals in Marineford. With the sound of alarm bells, Marineford suddenly became a mess. In the crowded aisle, on the vast square, all the generals were rushed towards the office of Marine Marshal Kong. What happened? Why are you so anxious? Is there any major incident? Marineford didn't encounter an invasion incident. Go to the office and wait for Marshal Kong's announcement. Actually, I already said, it's our East Blue 199 branch that captured the One Piece, Golden Roger. What? One Piece Roger, not long, in the office of Marshal Marine. It is already full of people at the moment. Sengoku Admiral, Zephyr Admiral, Akainu Sakazuki Vice Admiral, Aokiji Kuzan Vice Admiral. All the important soldiers who stop at Marineford gather here. Other important generals. They are all on mission. If they are not in naval headquarters, they will not be able to come back soon. Meet everyone. Kong looked again at the report from the East Blue 199 branch. Then I looked at the reception report from Impel Down Prison. Finally, Kong coughed lightly before announcing. Here, I announce that our Marine has captured the One Piece King, Gold Roger. This villain on the sea cannot avoid the fate of being sent to prison. And, Gold Roger is already in prison on the 6th floor of Impel Down. This time everyone is called here to formulate the next policy. How to deal with One Piece, Golden Roger. Hiss, after Kong's voice fell, everyone was in deep shock. Until 3 minutes later. All Marine, cheers. The atmosphere instantly exploded in the Marshal's office. Naval Headquarters, Marineford. After receiving the news that Roger surrendered, all Marie Joy's executives, and Naval Headquarters executives, realized that this was a huge opportunity. Now that Roger has found the news of Rafel, it is known to the whole world and sung by the sea. The fishing environment facing Marine is very stressful. They never expected that the Sea Mouse, Roger Pirate Group would be the first to complete the feat of finding the great secret treasure. Could it be? Shouldn't the person who found Rafel be Kazan's team? But things are already like this. Therefore, after Roger found the big secret treasure, Marie Joyce immediately removed the D in Roger's name, and Gold D. Roger's reward order was completely changed, and the name became Gold Roger. Bounties have also changed. And now, the One Piece with the highest bounty in history turned himself in. Roger delivered it to your door. It became timely rain to restore Marine's reputation. So, when the news came, Naval Headquarters acted immediately, directly changed the voluntary surrender into a passive arrest, and prepared for Roger when he was in the limelight. Kill him completely. The best way to deal with Roger. In front of the world, of course. At the moment, the atmosphere in Kong Yuan's office is lively. One Piece Roger in hand. Marine completely has crazy capital. Ha ha ha. This is great news. Now, after recuperating after the Battle of the Valley of the Gods, our Marine has once again reached its peak strength. At the same time, the strategy we formulated is also perfectly implemented. Kong turned to look at Sakazuki and Kazan. These two, together with Kizaru and Paluzolino who have not been here, are high-level talents that Marine has searched for countless times over the years. Akainu, Aokiji, and Kizaru themselves are all monsters among monsters, and they can suppress them with their own strength. All students in the same period. Not to mention the one-page Logia ability they possess. Yes. After witnessing Kazan Shaki's Logia fruit, the destructive power that disrupts the battlefield, Marine spent countless efforts to implement the policy of creating top Logia-capable users. And now, Monkey D. Drago, the son of Garp, has left Marine and disappeared from everyone's sight because of his disagreement with Marine's philosophy. But now that Akainu and others are supplemented by the 3 top Logia Vice Admirals, it doesn't matter. Akainu, Yellow Ape, Aokiji. These 3 are the future of Marine. Sooner or later, the 3 of them will become the highest combat power of Naval Headquarters. In the office, the cheerful atmosphere lasted for 10 minutes before it stopped. After calming down, Kong said, "We have decided to execute Roger in front of the world in the near future. Do you have any suggestions for the details?" Sakazuki said, "This is the best time to fight against the arrogance of pirates. The bigger the execution scene, the better, and the earlier the better. Others, it doesn't matter. Execution of One Piece in front of the world. It's a very cool thing." Kazan nodded. Zephyr. It's time to completely suppress the arrogance of the pirates. Sengoku, as the most prestigious, the resourceful general in Marine and also Marine Admiral, thinks something far-reaching. Capturing Roger is our best chance to regain reputation. We should give meaning to this ultimate execution. Deter all pirates. Tell me in detail, Kong said. Sengoku nodded, and said again, "We can place the execution place in Logue Town, where Roger was born, and there is a purpose in doing so. 4. One is, Logue Town is far away from the chaotic place of New World. At East Blue. As long as the news of Roger's execution in Logue Town spreads, the entire Grand Line will be full of excitement, and those pilgrims will definitely go to Logue Town. In this way, the whole sea will become lively because of the collective actions of the pirates. Even, word of mouth, Roger will be executed. Yes. It would be meaningless if the One Piece was executed in secret. How to expand things is particularly important. The pirates are dispatched collectively to watch the execution of Roger. If the route is set in Logue Town far away in East Blue, the pirates will collectively start the voyage. During the process, every place they pass will pass the news that the One Piece King was executed by Marine all over the sea. In this way, Marine's prestige will step on Roger's head and increase. In the office, nod. Sengoku Admiral, this is a great idea. Logue Town. It is estimated that the pirates in East Blue will be terrified, and no one will dare to go out to sea again. Putting King Roger to death in the birthplace of Logue Town really gave a layer of meaning, making this matter even more legendary. Therefore, our Marine, as the leader, will be often mentioned by people, and our prestige will be infinitely improved. And was even sung. There is no better execution place in the world than Logue Town. If Roger can be executed in Rafel, the effect will be even more explosive. It's just that we thought it was impossible to find Rafel. Everyone discussed enthusiastically. Sengoku continued. Also, the second point. Our newspapers are ready to attack if we raise them. You can publicize this matter in the newspapers. Even, you can publicize it. Let the pirates take a good look at the head of the One Piece King Roger. Looking at the whole world, it has the power to publish newspapers and control fishing boats. Actually, there are only 2. One is the World Economic News newspaper that has domesticated hundreds of millions of newsbirds. The second is Naval Headquarters, which domesticates seagulls and raises seagulls as totems. But then official news controlled by Marie Joyce and Naval Headquarters. People in the world actually prefer private newspaper publishers. Because people all over the world know it. The official news of Naval Headquarters is usually narrow-minded. The articles in it are written cautiously and very rigidly, and the lines are full of official arguments. Therefore, there is no interest in reading, and it is very unpleasant to read. But World Economic News is different. The news agency's newspapers perfectly fit the market, and the price is cheap, only 1 copy per 50 square feet. As for the president of the news agency, Morgans is not only the most talented journalist in history, he was also a reporter in his early years. When encountering big events, Morgans will write by himself. This has led to the newspapers produced by the news agency not only ensuring the amount of information, but also having fun points. You can even read some lucky secrets of the sea, and the quality is absolutely high. Therefore, it is only natural that the newspaper of the news agency is more popular than the official newspaper of naval headquarters. So, in this situation, naval headquarters began pouring money into the news of the world the year after Rock's death. In terms of performance, it is an investment to become a shareholder of the news agency. But the meaning behind it is actually bribe. It means, I will give you money regularly, and you can write whatever I tell you to write. The intention, both official and private, is to control the fishing boats. Only. After all, the news agency is not a direct line of marine, and the head of the news agency, Morgans, is also a greedy person. When there are accidents at sea, Morgans often does some crazy things for money, regardless of the slightest consideration. For example, the news that Roger pirates found Rafel came from Morgan's news agency. Naval headquarters didn't react at all at the time. The news has spread all over the world. Even the press release was written by Morgan himself. Thinking of that guy Morgans, I'm so angry that he actually published a newspaper without the approval of the headquarters. I haven't contacted Morgans personally for a long time. The incident that One Piece found Rafel should be because Roger sent Morgans a favor, which made Morgans boldly report. As for this execution, we will completely grasp the initiative. I'll be calling Morgans in a minute, to set this up myself. Hearing Sengoku's proposal, Kong said to himself. Time passed, and the meeting at naval headquarters continued for 2 hours. A detailed arrangement of events is discussed. It is almost certain that Roger will be executed in Logue Town. At the same time, Marine will make corresponding deployments. The recent missions of Marine officers and soldiers will be suspended, and all of them will be recalled to deal with the big event in Logue Town. After the meeting broke up, Kong himself dialed the big news Morgans. Blue, Kong thought about it. Over the years, Marine has successively invested 1 billion berry in the news agency. Raise soldiers for 1,000 days and use them for a while. Now is the time to make news agencies work. The other side. A huge news agency spaceship, being pulled by a news urn, sailed in the rain on the comm belt. Today, this spaceship named News Headline has become the headquarters of the World Economic News Agency. Morgans, who has a big mouth, chose to turn the headquarters into a mobile office location in the air in order to prevent himself from being accidentally injured. It is worth mentioning that News Headlines uses the technology provided by Stussy. Otherwise, it will not be able to fly. At the same time, there are a large number of journalists in news agencies distributed in news agencies all over the world. With this, the entire news agency will run in an orderly manner. With safety guaranteed, many sharp newspapers can be released without any scruples. Morgans is now a Birdman image. His albatross form is a gift from Kazan. The news bird form is also a classic image created for Morgans. Morgans crossed his legs and showed a disdainful smile. He calmly lit a cigar, and the phone rang for a long time before he answered Kong's call. Yaxi, what wind brought Marshal Marine here? Morgans greeted. Kong on the other end of the phone was a little annoyed, and said directly, Morgans, I need you to report something now. You deal with it immediately. Soon, he took the lead to explain the purpose of the call. Oh, did you report that you Marine captured the One Piece King Roger and executed him in Logue Town? Of course there is no problem. Morgans exhaled a puff of smoke, and the tone came indifferently. Kong immediately said, yes, I can provide you with information. But his words did not fall. It was interrupted by Morgan's faint voice, 500 million berry. This is the price of delivering this news. I promise, it won't be long before the whole sea will boil. 500 million berry, you are crazy. Kong on the other end of the phone was furious. Morgans is too greedy for money. There is no limit. 500 million berry. What are you daydreaming about? Morgans when although the lion opened his mouth, he didn't care. His achievement was given by Kazan. Moreover, Kazan asked Morgans to present an insatiable image in front of Marine. In this way, you can get naval headquarters to get the Emperor's money. Only when a person shows greed will the other party feel that he has a weakness, and he will actually be controlled and bought by money. However, Morgan's greed for money is indeed staged. He only obeys the orders of the flying pirates. Greedy for money. An order from Kazan himself. Without Kazan, Without Redfield himself coming, Morgans could not have taken over the entire news agency, and then, without the involvement of the air pirates, Morgans would not have achieved what they are today. At the same time, only the Morgans themselves know the horrors of Kazan. What the hell? The entire Roger's capture of the big secret was designed by Kazan. The key message of the newspaper. Long before Roger took the big secret, it was arranged to be Morgan's news material. Kazan's unpredictable strength made Morgans feel that the boss was too scary. Marine? Compared with the flying pirates that come at any time, the naval headquarters floating on the sea is a fart. Nothing more than a squeezed wallet, shriveled. Search. Power of poverty. Also worthy of being called the #1 violent institution in the sea? Morgans made fingers out of wings, held a cigar, took a puff, and spit all the smoke into the phone bug's eyes. The phone bug was teary and immediately coughed. Porf. Hurrah. Cough cough. Cough cough. Over there, Kong was silent for a long time. In the end, send money to the news agency. One Piece World has a bank-like institution, and remittance is a routine operation. After the remittance arrived, Morgan smiled with satisfaction. Marshal Kong, wait for my good news, and I will use the information you gave to write a press release. My writing is guaranteed to satisfy you, Marine. Be quick. Release as soon as possible. Release the most, Kong reminded. Morgan's perfunctory. My efficiency, don't you know? Empty boss. After hanging up the phone, Morgan suddenly turned serious. Cigars were also extinguished in the ashtray. The next second, Morgans came to a secret room alone. Blue, 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 in a dark environment. The phone bug rang. After the call was connected, Morgan's tone suddenly changed, and he became very odd. Boss Kazan, Marshal Marine, Kong that idiot sent me 500 million berry, and asked me to be a member of One Piece Luo. J. News of the execution in East Blue Log Town. And preferably in 3 days to the whole world. A gentle voice came from the phone bug. Don't worry, hang on to Marine first, let them add another price. 500 million berry, not enough. I'm also preparing a big piece of news here, so that 2 big pieces of news will be bound together in one newspaper and sold together. You wait for my news. Kazan's voice fell. Yes. Hearing this, Jens immediately said cautiously. Morgan's figure paced back and forth in the chamber. It is clear. There's something big going on at naval headquarters. And Kazan is also planning a big event. 2 hostile forces. 2 different events. Eventually it will be bound in a newspaper and sold to newspaper readers all over the world. Read a newspaper. 2 pieces of information full of contrast. In this way, 2 hot events together will definitely detonate the whole world. What will be the message of Kazan boss? Hiss. Absolutely big news. I must write both news to the best. This will be the biggest headline in the sea. Thinking of this, Morgans was completely excited. At the same time, Bagpipe Island, Rafel Island. As early as a few months ago, Kazan has gathered coordinates through 4 coordinate texts and found Rafel. And after Roger and others found Rafel, Kazan floated the final island, the Grand Line, and placed it on the side of Bagpipes Island. Same as Sky Island. Rafel will also be completely transformed by the island fruit, completely becoming a part of Bagpipe Island. Actually, Rafel is just an ordinary island, but there are a little more ancient characters on it. Nothing. However, with the attributes of the great secret treasure of Rafel and the historical texts scattered around the world as evidence, it is destined that this island will be endowed with special meaning, and even become a holy place for pirates. Certainly. The current Rafel is just a scenic spot on Bagpipe Island. If you want to use Rafel to do things, you must also have new operations in Kazan. Soon. Placed on the phone bug, Kazan disappeared in place. When he appeared again, he had arrived at the castle on Bagpipe Island. And at this time, Shiki, Redfield, Shaki, Linlin, Kaido, Newgate, Molly, Mork, Bullet. All the elites of the flying pirates are already on standby in the lobby. Seeing everyone, Kazan said directly, the era is undergoing tremendous changes. After we establish the 4 Emperors Regiment, it is time to show our fangs to the naval headquarters. Now, divide the team into 23 troops, distribute the 23 main Marines in New World, and uproot them. Shaki. Hearing this, Shaki assigned tasks and charts, as well as various permanent pointers to the Marine branch, to all the cadres of the flying pirates. Even Shiki and Redfield. There will also be tasks, you have to go out in person. This time, Kazan is not idle. since Roger's phone call, Kazan has persuaded him to surrender. He asked Shiki to collect Marine's distribution of forces in New World, and waited for Marine to announce the execution of One Piece Roger, and the flying pirates would send Marine a congratulatory gift. Drive them out of the New World completely. And speaking of Kazan, how did convince Roger? In fact, Kazan is only used in one sentence. Roger, in today's era, do you believe that you can do it yourself, or believe that the dead Joey Boy can do it, or pin your hopes on other new forces, those stinky brats, or choose to trust me, trust other people? Still trusting Kazan? One of Kazan's questions, just ask Roger upside down. At that time, in the dark wine cellar, Roger was completely numb for 10 minutes. Roger believes in himself? Obviously, Roger can't do it himself. Joey Boy, no way. After all the texts are in the hands of Kazan. Even if Joey Boy is the instigator, he is already a dead person and cannot appear in modern times to change this ending. New powers of the future. Joke. The entire New World is almost owned by the flying pirates. How to trust those stinky brats who haven't been born yet? Can their little eyes handle Kazan? Therefore, Roger accepted Kazan's suggestion and chose to surrender himself. Certainly. Roger believed in his own judgment from the beginning to the end. After meeting Kazan for the first time in Gaia Island, Roger believed that as long as he did not offend Kazan, Kazan would not bring trouble to him. Although Kazan is behind the scenes in his search for Rafel, there is no doubt that Roger is going to find it himself. During the process, Kazan may jump out and force him. And as long as Roger chooses to give up halfway, nothing will happen. Now that it happened. After all, Roger asked for it, there is really no reason to blame Kazan. www now, speaking of now. Morgans had already received the information from Naval Headquarters, so he was short of writing the news about the execution of Roger in Logue Town. Kazan will naturally participate in this special period. Actually, the establishment of Kazan's forces is divided into 3 stages. The first stage, before the Valley of the Gods. Mainly to collect the strong. At that time, the flying pirates rarely caused trouble in the world. It's all Marine looking for trouble. The second stage, after the Valley of the Gods, before Roger's execution. Establish the 4 Emperors Regiment to lay down the base of combat power. Low-key development. Now it's taking shape. It's time to take the initiative to expel all Marines from New World. Stage 3. Declare war on Marie Joyce. Anyway, it will be a matter of time to tear your face apart. Well, let's cut off the feather of Naval Headquarters first. One Piece Roger's execution song. How could it be flat? An appetizer is a must. Hear hear. Everyone was shocked. This time the flying pirates will shock the world. Shiki, on the sidelines, added. Marine has been building Logia's combat power over the years, and Akainu Sakazuki, Aokiji Kuzan, and Kizaru Paluzolino have joined in. These 3 monster rookies known as Naval Headquarters have already achieved the rank of Vice Admiral. According to the information I inquired, in order to deal with Roger's execution, Marine is shrinking its combat power in the sea, and those elites deployed all over the world are being transferred to Naval Headquarters. And, Kizaru, Paluzolino is in the New World. It is estimated that Paluzolino will report to Naval Headquarters soon. Hearing this, Zan Zan not only paid some attention. Is Marine's future 3 Admiral finally making an appearance? In fact, think about it. Akainu, Aokiji first appeared in O'Hara's Buster Call a few years later. And Kizaru is to capture the Murloc Dragon. After Roger was executed, Sangoku was promoted to the position of Marshal of the Marine. 3 Admiral also boarded the stage of Marine's highest combat power. And 3 Admirals' top Logia abilities. It is also a bureau specially arranged by Marine over the years. The purpose is to find top-level Logia-capable users, use the largest range of AoE to change the battlefield situation, so as to gain the dominance of the battlefield, and use terrifying natural elements to defeat the enemy's bottom-level combat power before the war begins. But Marine 3 Admiral has no room for development. The plan was doomed to fail from the very beginning. Instead, member Kazan. After all, in Kazan's heart, Marine has always been a legend. Kazan has no problem nibbling out the buds that represent the future of Marine. Split up and uproot the Marine branch. I'm going to take Paluzolino down. As Kazan's voice fell, the flying pirates officially took action. Roar thick. Set off. Stussy has learned a lot about Sky Island's technology handbook. She can build a spaceship like Enel's Ark proverb. As long as Shiki charges it once, it can fly for a long time. Now, in the central lake of Bagpipe Island, hundreds of specially designed flying warships are moored. As long as you operate, these ships can fly into the air and travel to all parts of the world. And, among the flying pirates, only Kazan has the means to hunt devil fruit. Paluzolino is a Logia sparkling fruit capable user. Kazan decided to do it himself and take down this T-level devil fruit. After doing all this, Kazan will write the news that New World Marine was wiped out by the flying pirates, and the news that Marine executed Roger, and let Morgans write the news together, make a newspaper, and pass it on to the world. Want to start a war? The fishing boat is coming first. The most suitable news content is to slap Marine in the face. In this way, Marine is forced to assemble its troops, and there will be a huge war that will cause a sensation in the world. Didn't Marine want the whole world to watch Roger be executed? Do you want to completely extinguish the pirates' arrogance? Then Kazan will pass on 2 messages, bundle sail. The other side, New World, patter. 3 warships are sailing. On the deck, Kizaru Paluzolino is wearing a pair of brown glasses. He is cutting his nails and muttering obscenely with his mouth crooked. Hey, yo, so scary, is this the New World? So scary, such a big warship is a bit wobbly in such a bad climate. The weather is so bad that you can't even see a pirate. The assistant on the other side replied, yes, Paluzolino Vice Admiral, but just now there is news from the headquarters that we no longer need to go on missions to catch pirates, and we have to return to the headquarters early because of the execution of Roger. Kizaru put away his nail clippers and raised his eyelids. Yeah, it looks like that incident is real. Then prepare to change course and set off. Just when Kizaru was about to get up, an intelligence agent ran out from inside the cabin in a panic. It's not good, Paluzolino Vice Admiral, our G-23, G-26, G-34. More than a dozen branches are all being attacked by pirates at the same time, the intelligence officer shouted with sweat on his face. Kizaru completely stood up his tall body. All branches? Who did it? Impossible. How could there be such rampant pirates? It's crazy. Shiki, Redfield, Kaido, Shaki, Linlin, Newgate, and their various elite cadres. They are all dispatched to target our marine. The intelligence officer reported even more nervously, with the expression on his face. Sweat is like rain. What? Kizaru couldn't hold back a few drops of sweat. In fact, Marines with low ranks may not understand. But Kizaru, who has been in contact with the core of naval headquarters, is actually very clear in his heart. The Four Emperors pirate group that has been making a lot of noise in recent years is actually a force of the Flying Pirate Group, but under the order of Kazan, they are scattered throughout the New World. Although they maintain restraint with Marine, they rarely conflict. But anyone with a brain will know that sooner or later a war will break out. Did not think of. It was after the news that Roger, the One Piece King, was captured by Marine. This means that the world is about to change dramatically. Is a huge war coming? Continue to receive information from the major branches, we will immediately. Go back to naval headquarters immediately, Kizaru said firmly. At the moment, Kizaru has given up supporting other branches. In fact, naval headquarters has rarely formed a regiment in New World, and the branch is far less than luck. There are many times, and Marine Admiral, and the 2 monsters Akainu and Aokiji are also here. So, look out across the New World. Kizaru is considered one of the highest combat power. And he is the only one in New World. He is definitely not the opponent of the entire Flying Pirates. Therefore, it is the most correct choice to go back to naval headquarters instead of launching a rescue. It can be next second. The Marine soldiers on the surrounding decks were shocked immediately. Look, the wind suddenly became strange today. How did it become golden? Wait, why is our warship retreating? Kizaru took off his glasses, looked up, and saw the warship sailing normally. The sails at this moment had been agitating in the opposite direction, and even, the whole warship was moving in a strange way. Fast reverse sailing. Seeing this abnormal situation, Kizaru immediately thought that this was Kazan's ability. A trace of something bad came to my heart. At this moment, the Marine soldier shouted nervously again. The bow of our ship. No, it's the stern of our warship. There is a small boat floating on the sea. Hiss. That boat is Kazan. This time. Marine's scalp tingled collectively on the entire warship. That legendary man appeared. Just in the direction of the stern of the boat where I was waiting for. Moreover, the main warship was sailing in the opposite direction by the wind. This anomaly means that Kazan has come to us. And it has already been shot. Grand Line, New World. A small medium-gauge sailboat quietly parked on the sea. After receiving the information from Paluzolino, Kazan waited here to intercept Kizaru's warship. Certainly. For Kazan, anyone standing in front of him is an enemy. Take an era of Garp, Zephyr, Sengoku, Akainu, Kizaru, Aokiji of the future era. Because of the different times, these people must be strong and weak, and because of mistakes, some people escaped. But Kizaru, Akainu, Aokiji, the 3 future Marines, will. Currently still in the rank of Vice Admiral, although there is a powerful Logia ability blessing. But for Kazan, it's really just a few brats, and the reason why the stinky little devils are guilty and need to be killed is because they have what Kazan wants. 3 top Logia devil fruits. This kind of devil fruit of similar strategic level, Kazan will never let go. This is not. As Shiki found information about Kizaru, Kazan came here alone. At this moment, on the warship, Paluzolino, wearing a black hat, a white justice cloak, and a gray striped suit with black lining, although his face looks young, but the facial features on the entire face are already distorted trace. The current Paluzolino is 34 years old. Since he joined Naval Headquarters, he has been trained in Naval Headquarters together with Akainu and Aokiji. He is known as the real monster of the new generation of Marine. It was not until recent years that Marines were put into the sea for training, and their military ranks have already reached Vice Admiral. And Paluzolino relies on his own strength and powerful Logia sparkling fruit ability. Inside Marine, it has accumulated quite a high prestige. As part of the Logia strategic level combat force. As long as the ranks of Sengoku, Zephyr and other older generations are raised by another rank. Free up the Marine Admiral slot. Paluzolino and others can easily officially enter the ranks of Admiral and become the highest battle record of Naval Headquarters. Certainly. To be promoted to Admiral is to rank. But Naval Headquarters can control it by itself. If a soldier is fancy, the Marine executives will use all conditions to write his name. Like the Buster Call incident on Island of Ohara, that hasn't happened yet. It's not a good idea to send Marine here. Want Inu and Aokiji. It was nothing more than Naval Headquarters manipulating the resumes of the 2 people to make their resumes more glamorous. After the incident, the next promotion to Admiral became reasonable. Kazan took a fancy to this. Kizaru Paluzolino must be removed here. Kazan is targeting the future of Marine. Knocking out Marine's future will save a lot of things in the future. At this time, with the wind of gold blowing by, the warship has been scraped back thousands of meters. Get very close to Kazan's sailboat. You are Kazan? Kizaru stood at the stern of the warship, with a pair of crooked eyes, staring at Kazan at the bow. He had a bad premonition in his heart. Kizaru knew that Kazan, a legendary pirate, would not settle the matter easily since he chose to take action. But he wasn't that afraid. After all, Paluzolino himself is a swordsman with superb swordsmanship. To deal with a swordsman like Kazan, using a sword as a weapon, he can actually pass a few tricks. At the same time, Paluzolino knows that he is definitely not Kazan's opponent, but at least he can run by himself. Logia Sparkling Fruit can let the ability user have the speed of light. The power of light represents the extreme speed of nature. Looking at the entire world, only the teleportation fruits listed in Paramecia can achieve this speed, and in Logia, only Thunderfruit can match it. So the ape is not very worried about dying here. The gaze of the 2. It also attracted the attention of surrounding Marine officers and soldiers. They whispered. In this situation, Paluzolino Vice Admiral, do you want to fight Kazan here? The entire warship is controlled by the wind, we have nowhere to escape. What should we do? In this case, we can only trust Paluzolino Vice Admiral. Although everyone is very confident in Paluzolino's strength. But also look at who the opponent is. In other words, even if Kizaru has the capital to compete with Kazan by virtue of the agility of Sparkling Fruit, he can even escape at any time and stay away from this battlefield. But the other soldiers had nowhere to escape. The threat of death, the moment Kazan appeared, suddenly descended on everyone. Marine soldiers, breathe, keep getting heavier. The pupils kept shrinking. On the other side, Kizaru could only look serious and said, I tried to hold that man, you guys find a chance to escape. This is my only order. Don't stay in this battlefield. The meaning behind it is obvious that even Kizaru cannot take care of these subordinates. Just let them run away when they get the chance. The voice fell. Kizaru turned into dots of golden light, bursting out like a laser. There was no sign of it. In midair, Kizaru turned into a golden 4-pointed star, and countless flashes of light fell like laser beams, shooting toward Kazan's ship. Kazan a second before disappearing. The entire ship has been taken into space by him, and the figure also disappeared. Boom. Several laser beams fell on the sea surface, forming a huge explosion, but a minister was blown up. The entire sea area was filled with golden shock waves. Countless waves rose from the sky, as if they had been blasted by underwater bombs. The next moment the two figures converged. In midair Pelusolino's leisurely voice came. "It's so scary. Have you ever been kicked by the speed of light?" The power of the sparkling fruit was all concentrated on one of Pelusolino's legs, making the whole leg appear flashing elemental, and he was about to kick it in the predicted direction. In the air, Kazan is always a wisp of golden wind. Well, this is. As soon as Pelusolino finished speaking, he instinctively felt the danger coming. His kick hadn't come out yet. The action stopped suddenly. Pelusolino hurriedly turned into golden light and fled to the deck of the warship. The next moment, Pelusolino was so weak that he knelt on one knee on the deck. Hoo. He was panting heavily. Boom. At this moment, the sound of the beating heart seemed to leave Pelusolino. My heart was taken away by the speed of light. What kind of ability is this? Pelusolino was shocked. He was the sparkling who ate the Logia sparkling fruit, representing the world's fastest speed. However, before the fight, his heart was inexplicably pulled out of the body. What is that flashing golden ball? Is it Kazan's ability? Pelusolino is getting weaker than ever. Losing his heart will make him unable to adapt for a while. But Kazan's figure, together with the previous boat, has disappeared from this sea area. Even Kazan didn't leave a word during the whole process. The appearance of the speed of light, the disappearance of the speed of light. Not sloppy at all. That's it. It disappeared without a trace in this sea area. Pelusolino Vice Admiral, that pirate has escaped. He and his ship disappeared. That's great. It's so easy to repel the pirates. Did we win? The surrounding marine soldiers were a little excited. But seeing Pelusolino kneeling on one knee, something seemed wrong, and immediately another soldier stepped forward and asked with concern, "Vice Admiral, what's wrong with you? Did you actually fight against each other just now?" Seeing that Pelusolino had no injuries, the soldiers felt relieved. They are not Kizaru, so naturally they don't know the seriousness of the matter. A heart that represents life. Taken by the enemy. It means that Kazan can take Kizaru's life with just one thought. As expected. Only the next second, Pelusolino suddenly clutched his empty chest in pain. Then, a massive amount of blood spewed out from his mouth, splashing and infecting the entire deck. Then, Pelusolino lost his strength and lay flat on the deck. Like a dead body, completely lifeless. At this moment, the surrounding marines were completely flustered, and they all hugged their heads. This is. Pelusolino Vice Admiral, our Marine Vice Admiral, is dead. What the hell just happened? However, the Marine soldiers have not yet fully come out. A huge meteorite broke through the clouds, braving golden flames, like a cannonball with a trailing flame. Hit the warship. Boom. The next day, the edge of the comm belt. A branch of World Economic News. Morgans looked up as countless news birds soared into the sky. They will all carry superstar newspapers and fly to all parts of the world. Morgans looked both excited and dignified. Seriously, he finally saw Kazan's true strength. The one published in the newspaper was the Flying Pirates. In just one day, all forces launched at the same time, knocking down Marine and deploying 23 branches. By the way, Marine Vice Admiral Kizaru, confirmed dead in action. The fleet he led was all destroyed by meteorites. What kind of strength can kill Marine's arrangement in New World so quickly? This kind of thing, going back hundreds of years, has never been done before. The news will definitely shake the sea, and Morgans is excited about. He extorted another 300 million of Barry's fortune from Kong. Plus the previous 500 million Barry, a total of 800 million Barry. The purpose of Naval Headquarters is to publish a piece of information about the execution of One Piece that attracts the attention of the whole world. Therefore, two pieces of news combined to declare the world side. Marine announced to the world with great momentum that they had arrested the legendary One Piece Roger. And, in Logue Town, in front of the whole world, execute this legendary pirate. Side. Kazan has declared war on Marineford's naval headquarters with practical actions. Today, New World has produced actual artillery clashes, and Marine's annihilation has become a fact. There is no room for negotiation. Both pieces of information are a joke. And they are all delivered to the hands of people all over the world at the same time. Combined together, these two pieces of news, the message to the world is: unprecedented events will happen in the world. And the event, its naval headquarters, the moment when Roger of One Piece was executed in Logue Town. Blue sea, blue sky, gentle breeze. As countless newsbirds fly to all over the world, sheets of newspapers are also scattered by them. In town, pirate ship, on the warship. The fluttering newspapers are almost pervasive, spreading the explosive news across the sea. Two major events detonated the whole world on the same day. Naval headquarters, Marineford, Marshal's office. Kong, Sengoku, Zephyr, Sakazuki, Aokiji. All Marine elites gather here at this moment. Today, the real headache happened again for Marine. Moreover, this matter is more serious than ever. Now, the news of Marine's execution of the One Piece King Roger in Logue Town has spread all over the world. The obvious meaning is to tell everyone in this world that Marine is about to do something big, and everyone's attention is gathered. Roger, who just became the One Piece, was captured by Marine. And in front of people all over the world, the execution will be broadcast live. We, Marine, hope that all 3-year-olds will come to see it for themselves. But the result? In the same newspaper, another piece of news took up regular space. A flying pirate group came out halfway and took over all 23 marine branches of New World. Now in the entire New World sea area, only one branch of Marine, G1, can gain a foothold. Other important branches, all, be served in one pot. Even the super vice admiral secretly cultivated by Marine, Kizaru, Peluzalino. Together with the team, they were killed by the flying pirates. Two news published in one place, doesn't it make it clear what it is to declare war by stepping on Marine's head? Yes. Execute Marine Roger, take down the New World Marine branch, the two messages are bundled together for sale. This heat was directly pushed to the peak and became the only hot topic of discussion among everyone in the sea. When people are talking about Roger being executed, it will definitely bring about the fact that Marine was wiped out in New World. Therefore, the two things are completely bound together, and no one can avoid the other. And this directly caused the entire naval headquarters to explode. What does Kazan mean? This guy's blatant provocation is obviously going to the front of the stage. He is taking the initiative to start a war against Marine. Launching a war against Marine. Rox has been the only one who has tried it for hundreds of years, but at that time, Rox ended in failure every time. In the end, the entire pirate group of Rox was almost trapped to death in Hachinosu. As a result, only Kazan appeared and joined forces with Rox once, and the world was messed up. In the office, Kong frowned deeply, but still suppressed the anger in his heart. Everyone, please be quiet, we need a calm mind to think about this matter. This meeting is suspended for 10 minutes. Kong is really angry, he can't even hold a meeting. The ape demon heart in the body is about to explode at this moment. But as Marshal Marine, the Supreme Commander of Naval Headquarters, Kong has no choice. I can only endure the anger and stabilize the meeting scene. Kizaru, Peluzalino. This elite was supervised by Kong himself, dispatched Zephyr, and after countless days and nights to cultivate elite soldiers and strong generals, even Kong himself ended up taking Kizaru for several months. And, Peluzalino is paired with sparkling fruit, one of the most powerful Logia abilities. It can be said that Akainu, Kizaru, and Aokiji are the three strategic pearls of the Logia Pioneer in Naval Headquarters' long-term plan. They are the most shining existence in the core existence of Marine in the future. As a result, a bright pearl suddenly dimmed. Peluzalino, there is no one left. Sparkling fruit, suddenly gone. Doesn't that mean Kazan is digging the groundwork for Naval Headquarters' future? And World Economic News, the president of Morgan's actually backstabbed Naval Headquarters, and put Kazan's news in a newspaper at the same time, and properly, slapped a wave of Naval Headquarters in the face in front of the world. This is tantamount to, Marine just got some results here, tell everyone to come and watch for free. In the end, someone stepped on his face, and the man said arrogantly, I will come to find fault. Declare war. Properly declare war. Kong thought of this. Anger can no longer be described. He wants to eat people. After 10 minutes of adjustments, Kong continued to host the meeting. Now, the news that we are going to execute Roger has spread throughout the Grand Line and every kingdom in the world, so, in front of the whole world, the execution of Roger is already a fact that will definitely happen. If Roger's head is not chopped off in front of the whole world, our marine's face will be gone. But now the problem is, Kazan will most likely come to wreak havoc. This is no longer a simple execution, but a war that may happen soon. After Kong's voice fell, the soldiers in the audience chattered immediately. However, there was unconcealable anger on everyone's faces. What is Marine? It is recognized as the largest violent organization in the world, and it is the existence where gods block and kill gods, Buddha blocks and kills all pirates. After several fights between Marine and Kazan, several core elites have been lost. Monkey D. Garp, this vice admiral, who was posthumously named a Marine hero, has disappeared from the Valley of the Gods for N years under the attack of Kazan. Monkey Drago, faced with Marine's inaction on the Garp incident, Marine Vice Admiral Dorag left angrily and chose to leave Marine to do it alone. Crane, this vice admiral, what's more, turned his head and joined the enemy's camp. Paluzolino, it was also confirmed that Kazan was strangled in the cradle in New World. Whether it's the previous generation or this generation, Marine was hit hard. And, all are the highest rank under Marine Admiral, the best of the Vice Admiral. Beside, the eyes of Sakazuki and Kuzan are full of complexity. The three came out of a training camp, and the two of them clearly know the strength of Paluzolino. That guy Paluzolino has the ability of extremely fast fruits. Unable to escape and die in the hands of others. Involuntarily, Sakazuki's Kazan turned cold. Sengoku couldn't help shaking his hands on the side, thought for a while, and then said in a deep voice. I think, Kazan is sending a signal to me. His ambition will be announced to the whole world during this execution. He wants to step on our naval headquarters. He wants to destroy the entire execution. And this unexpected appearance, the choice should be made again. Reselect. Roger didn't kill. What? The anger of the other Marine generals was immediately ignited. They've been shaken by Kazan's actions, and now they're flinching at the thought of Sengoku. Immediately I couldn't bear it. Now that the news has spread, isn't it slapping Marine himself in the face of a temporary change of mind? Let the people on the sea, how do you think of Marine in the future? The defeated army who fled without fighting. No, changing now is not good for our Marine's reputation. It will fuel the arrogance of the pirates. It will not be good for our Marine's position of ruling the sea. The idea of escaping is very stupid. Since it has been decided, we can only let things happen as scheduled, otherwise what will the pirates think of us? Yes. We should have just waited for Kazan to come. Let's kill him myself. Sengoku also has a headache when facing his fighting-minded colleagues. After a pause, Sengoku could only explain. There are a large number of civilians in Logue Town, and the pirates are cruel. If they want to cause chaos during execution, they will definitely hurt civilians. This is the worst battlefield. In the name of an accident, we can issue an announcement to the world and change the place of execution to our naval headquarters Marineford. In this way, we have the advantage of the home court. I don't think I need to explain to everyone what kind of iron barrel formation naval headquarters is. There is no doubt that Marineford is a forbidden place for all pirates. Every inch of Marineford is controlled by Marine. At the same time, every inch of land can be deployed with weapons and combat power. Moreover, there is no need to worry about pirates coming to investigate information in advance, because the current Marineford is like an iron wall. If you take some time to re-strengthen it, it will definitely make the pirates come and go. Occupying this home position, Marine will not be afraid of any power on the sea. Under Sengoku's explanation, everyone understood. Immediately, many people offered to support this decision. In terms of resourcefulness, people like Sengoku are still needed. He only needs to change the position of execution, and he can gather all the advantages into the hands of his own people. Laugh at. So, losing a little reputation now is nothing. Anyway, the execution is led by the Marine, where the execution is originally decided by the Marine. It's just a location change. It's not about changing the event itself. The power of interpretation is not on Marine's side. As long as you find one or two reasons, you can reach coups. Kong looked at Sengoku with relief. Changing the execution ground to Marineford is indeed a brilliant move. There is no such perfect execution place in the world. After this battle, maybe the position of Marshal should let Sengoku come. Then, the meeting at Marineford went on for a long time again. The Marines mainly discussed how to deploy this possible war, and at the same time, how to use the geographical advantages and how to deploy weapons and defense forces so that the pirates who came to make trouble would never come back. Moreover, Marineford is a huge fortress dug out of a boulder. In terms of strength, it is stronger than any island in the world. With this nature, it is doomed not to be lifted into the sky by the lion fruit. It is simply born to be the nemesis of the two brothers Kazan Shiki. This time, Marine not only wants to kill Roger in front of the whole world, also declare to the world that Marine is an existence that pirates can never afford to mess with. Today after the Marineford meeting, a message broke from Naval Headquarters. And pass it on to the whole world. This time, Marine not only announced the new execution location. At the same time, the date of Roger's execution was announced. Absolutely sure. Everyone will wait for things to happen as scheduled. Pause time. The whole sea is boiling. In this way, in the discussion of the world, 3 months passed quickly. At this time, it has come to the day when the One Piece Roger will be executed. East Blue, Logetown, Plaza. A newly added huge screen stands in the most obvious position, and the big screen is divided into 4 small screens, using 4 lenses to broadcast the live footage of Marineford, and the time is about to reach noon. In the upper right corner of the screen, a countdown timer is beating impressively. 1 hour 2 minutes and 58 seconds, foreshadows, 1 hour until Roger's execution. There are quite a few places in the world with live broadcast screens like Logetown. Mainly distributed in the first half of the Grand Line, and all over the world. There are a large number of Marie Joy's franchise countries here, and each franchise country welcomes Roger's execution with great enthusiasm. As a franchise country, these countries must of course publicize the money they spent in the sky as the most worthwhile deal. The purpose of Marine doing this is to tell the world. The newly established king of the pirates was executed by Marine at the fastest speed. From now on, we have entered the era of the Marine King. At this moment, some people who could not go to Marineford to watch the execution in person, faced the screen, gesticulating and discussing. This time Marine has a huge momentum, and there is only 1 hour before the execution begins. Look, the picture. Hiss, those ships are the pirate ships surrounding Marineford. This time, Marine made an exception and allowed the pirates and reporters to enter a few nautical miles near Marineford to watch Roger's execution from afar. Marine doesn't care about pirates approaching Marineford at all. This time Marine is too grand and confident. The screen changed. Come to the scene in sea near Marineford. On the sea, I saw that there were thousands of ships, large and small, surrounding the Marineford island in an irregular manner. These people. They are pirates, reporters, informants, and some madmen at sea. Because Marine has already publicized it, Marine will acquiesce to some people coming to watch Roger's execution. As long as they do not enter the range of Marine's cannon, it will be considered a safe area by default. This is an announcement, so Marine will not take the initiative to hunt down pirates in this incident. Therefore, some pirates will gather at this point in time. At the same time, everyone's purpose is the same, so there will be no personal grievances under the camera of the reporter or live broadcast. After all, everyone is a prominent figure in the sea. To mess around in this environment, isn't it disturbing the environment? I really can't afford to lose that person if the news is passed on. On the sea, a pirate ship came here, and the crew decisively put away the sails. The captain of this pirate ship stands tall and tall at the bow. The corner of his mouth has been cracked to the root of his ears. Gecko Moria. Paramecia is a person with the ability to capture the shadows of others. In today's era, Moria is 26 years old. She is a new marine supernova on the sea, with a bounty of 118 million berry. He. Moria is tall and strong, with a long knife pinned to her waist and a confident smile on her face. Die. Roger. Die quickly. Moria put her hands on her chest. You are dead, I will be the next One Piece. He. New World, wait for me, I will come soon. Moria is now famous in the Grand Line. When the pirates started, Moria's team has not tasted a defeat yet. He started planning early on to step into the New World in the legendary 4 Emperors. But in the process of sailing, Moria heard the news that the One Piece Roger was about to be executed. Immediately wait in the paradise. Huh? That guy over there is. Moria suddenly wondered. Another man of the sea. It's really a tricky character. Following Moria's gaze, she saw a pink figure sticking to the sea, shuttling among the various ships. Don Quixote Doflamingo. Doflamingo is trusted by North Blue, and he is also a Paramecia string fruit capable person. He can control strings and make strings. Of course, he can also use strings, like Spider-Man, to move between objects. He soon came to a pirate ship. The pirate on the deck immediately drew out his knife, pointed at Doflamingo and said angrily, "You bastard, is this a boat you can get on?" Doflamingo, Get off. Otherwise, we won't welcome you. Doflamingo walked on the deck in a figure of 8 steps, ignoring the crowd. To the man in the middle of the deck, said, Crocodile, let's make a deal. Crocodile cast a disdainful glance. Taking a sip of the cigar, he hesitantly said, I'm not interested in playing games with you, a clown. At this time, Doflamingo had just turned 17 years old, and he was still a kid who had just set sail, but his bounty had already reached 67 million, which was enough to make him a headache. But in terms of knowledge, Doflamingo is indeed a pioneer in the sea. At the same time, he has the background of celestial dragons, and he received an exclusive education in power early on, so he has the ambition to regain his throne. After years of planning, Doflamingo has already set off from North Blue to the first half of the Grand Line, ready to go to the New World to regain the kingdom established by his ancestors, Dressrosa, and use this as a springboard to regain the identity of celestial dragons. But the current environment of New World is chaotic. The sea is full of 4 emperors territory. These guys are simply tyrants in the sea. All pirates have to weigh themselves, whether they have the strength to go to the 4 emperors to touch. Now, Doflamingo wants to go to New World, but he is actually a little trembling. Therefore, a strong partner is needed. Doflamingo wants to take advantage of Roger's execution, and at this time when the pirates gather, recruit some pirates as his subordinates. So I set my sights on Crocodile, who is also a super rookie. And Crocodile. A Logia sand fruit capable person, Crocodile was already 22 years old at this time. He hadn't challenged Whitebeard yet, so he was naturally arrogant. When he met a 17-year-old Ming, he didn't want to look directly at him. What grade is your Paramecia? How dare you talk to a Logia capable user like that? When Doflamingo was talking with Crocodile, a small boat quietly passed the area where everyone was. The small boat was the size of a coffin board, but the momentum of the owner on the small boat was not weak at all. Hey, there's another amazing character, Mahawk. Doflamingo, Re-Tan Show. Crocodile just looked along and saw the man who was sailing under the boat. Dracule Mahawk. At this time, Hawkeye was only 19 years old, but he was already carrying the supreme sword on his back. Even though Hawkeye was still very young at this time, he had already made his mark in the first half of the Grand Line with his superb swordsmanship. Nickname: Hawkeye, Marine Hunter. Hawkeye is an existence that Marine dare not easily mess with. It can be said that it is the whole sea. In this era, Mahawk is the most brilliant newcomer. There is no other reason. Just because, in a certain aspect, Hawkeye has reached the ultimate level that can be mastered at this age. No one can beat it. At least among its contemporaries, the Mahawk has no rivals. Therefore, Hawkeye's reputation is very big, only because Kazan exists. Although Hawkeye's swordsmanship is superb, no one in this world would call him the world's #1 swordsman. Therefore, in recent times, Hawkeye has accelerated the frequency of challenging swordsmen from all over the world. When he thinks the time is right, he will stand in front of Kazan and claim the title of the world's #1 swordsman. Wait until your servant. At the same time, on the other side, on a merchant ship, the captain of this merchant ship is a retired pirate, so he is very courageous. Even if all the sea is full of pirates, he is not worthless among all the pirates. At this point, the edge of the deck, red-haired Shanks, who is only 15 years old, has a red nose and buggy, with a serious expression. These 2 people who were not at the 4 emperors level are now just veritable brats. On age, on strength. At this time, they may not be as good as newcomers like Crocodile. But because Roger was about to be executed, they also came to see him off. Only, they still don't know why Roger made such a decision. If it wasn't for Rayleigh explaining it later. The other members of the Roger Pirates did not know that Roger, who was dying of illness, actually surrendered himself. It has nothing to do with the Marine capture. At the same time, it is worth mentioning that after Roger surrendered himself, other members of the Roger Pirates, after internal discussions, all chose to recluse, because they all carried a high reward, and now they have lost Captain Roger. The last era has not arrived, and everyone has no new pursuits. And only 15-year-old red-haired Shanks and Clown Buggy. Neither of them had been to Rafel. In addition, the 2 were young, and as newcomers who have no existence on Roger's ship, they don't even carry bounties on them. And can continue to sail freely on the sea. Therefore, without a pirate ship, they could only rely on a nosy merchant ship to plunge into the pile of pirates, looking at the empty execution platform in the square near Marineford. They know Roger's figure will soon be escorted to the execution platform. At the same time, Also on this merchant ship. The man who thought he was wearing a cloak was standing among the crowd, and his eyes were also fixed on the travel platform. Munkid Drago. The former Marine Vice Admiral was also the first man who voluntarily refused to be promoted to Marine Admiral. Today, Drago is 31 years old, and he quit Marine a long time ago, wandering in the sea, and established the Freedom Army. See the news that One Piece Roger will be executed. Drago also came to the waters near Marineford alone, which he is very familiar with, and at the same time, very disgusted. What Drago cares most about at the moment? What exactly will Roger say before he dies? Will he give some guidance to those who are lost in the sea? Also at this time, the surrounding pirates, reporters, and madmen all became agitated. Countless telescopes were held in their hands and placed above the eye sockets, and the eyes opened wildly under the lenses. Look. Marine has made a move. Look. Marine Marshal Kong has appeared on the platform. Marine Admiral Sengoku of Buddha, Black Arm Zephyr. It's so scary. They are the highest combat power of Marine, and they have gathered. One Piece Roger's execution is about to begin after all. Kakaka. As the voice fell, countless reporters began to pick up the camera phone bug and took pictures one after another. At the same time, they also have their own live channel. The scene of the execution will be broadcast live to the black market all over the world. This time, it is destined to attract the attention of the whole world. Meanwhile, Naval Headquarters. Execution platform, a high platform where various generals need to stand. These configurations had already been built up a month ago, and they were all made of the best materials, so the defense power was directly maxed out. On the square, inside the palace walls. In other words, the entire Marineford hides various military facilities, some targeting the ground, some targeting the air, and some targeting the seabed. At this moment, plus the high-level elite combat power drawn from all over the place. Let the whole Marineford appear as a copper wall. It is a question of who will come and whether they can enter Marineford. At this time, several tall figures bypassed the building behind them and appeared on the high platform. The other soldiers of Naval Headquarters looked up together. Every face can clearly see a trace of fanaticism and excitement. Because these three are the strongest combat power of Naval Headquarters. At the same time, it also means the highest right of Naval Headquarters. Marshal Marine Kong, Marine Admiral Sengoku of Buddha. Marine Admiral Black Arm Zephyr. At the same time, beside Kong and the others, there were also 4 CPOS wearing pure white suits and wearing unique masks. This time, the execution of One Piece Roger was a joint operation between Mary Jo and Naval Headquarters. When Roger was arrested, Kong received a lot of resource support from the 5 elders. In recent years, Marine's face and Marijoy's face have been constantly damaged by Kazan, and it is necessary to use a beautiful battle to turn around. And now, although it is not confirmed that Kazan's air pirates will arrive in person. But, since Kazan put the news of taking away New World together with the news of Marine's execution of Roger, if Kazan didn't come, he would be ridiculed by the whole world. The prestige of Naval Headquarters will increase infinitely. So, even if not sure, Naval Headquarters also invested a lot of resources to make the entire execution process the most eye-catching. At the same time, Akainu Sakazuki walked behind several CPOS with a look of displeasure. He feels like a clown. Follow the 4 mice in the sewers. Yes, obviously the Naval Headquarters thing. When will it be the turn of the CPO to participate? These guys actually have to walk in front of a series of Naval Headquarters vice admirals. Such a picture, but passed on to the world to see. Undoubtedly, can affect the face of Naval Headquarters. Aokiji Kuzan agrees deeply on the side. Kuzan, however, is fine with that. Just finally reach the pirates of the Grand Line of Shock. It is also reasonable to use a little more hidden power. Anyway, less work for myself. No matter how you look at it, it is a beautiful thing. Kong walked to the top of the high platform, and said to Sengoku beside him in a deep voice. I have already contacted Marie Joyce. They will also monitor the situation here, and when necessary, Marie Joyce will send out the Knights of God. At the same time, the 5 elders have ordered that we, Naval Headquarters, execute Roger this time without any accidents. But according to the current situation, no news about the flying pirates. Sengoku nodded aside, but his heart was turned upside down. After becoming Marine Admiral, Sengoku is obliged to protect the Celestial Dragons. At the same time, Sengoku also learned some of Marijoy's power structure. God's Knights. The Knights of the Gods are the knights who guard the celestial dragons, and they are generally not dispatched, only when major events occur. Even, they could do it to judge some criminal celestial dragons. The Knights of God can actually be described. Sword in hand, guardian of the celestial dragons. Such forces are all preparing for war, which is enough to show that 5 elders attaches great importance to this execution, and to a certain extent, reflects Marijoy's current attitude towards Marine. At least, some respect. If you need resources, you will give them. If you need manpower, you will give manpower. Much better than the days of the rocks. In fact, this is also the normal law of the development of things. Sengoku stood on the high platform and took a look at the audience. There are hidden military facilities around, some of which are hidden under the ground, and can be revealed when turned over. The reason why Marineford was chosen as the main battlefield was based on Sengoku's multifaceted considerations. Marineford is impregnable and must not be successfully raided from the inside. The ability to travel through space owned by the flying pirates. It's the fruit of the door. This fruit actually has many restrictions. On the one hand, the size of the door fruit is limited, and tens of thousands of people can squeeze through a door, which is not very realistic at first glance. On the other hand, the fruit of the door requires the ability user to go to the target location in person and lay down the coordinates. There is no doubt that, Marineford. No pirates ever broke into the interior. To attack Marineford, all that remains is the sky, the sea, and the bottom of the ocean. 3 ways. But at this moment, Marineford has a lot of weapons aimed at the sky. If it wants to make a large-scale assault, it will inevitably suffer heavy losses. See? The entire island of Marineford is made up of rocks, and it is a moon-shaped island. The only way to enter Marineford is the crescent port in front of the island, and there are hidden artillery all around the port. Come on, it's a living target. At the same time, in order to prevent Kazan and Shiki, the 2 lion fruit-capable users of the flying pirates, there is no warship in the entire Marineford. In other words, nothing can be lifted into space at all. Of course, there is no need to use lion fruit to attack with warships. As for the seabed, out of the bottom of the sea is the port of Marineford. In order to avoid accidents, countless bombs have been placed under the sea around Marineford, just in case no one comes from the bottom of the sea. Damn flying pirates, let's see if you have the guts to attack naval headquarters this time, otherwise, just wait for the whole world to laugh at you. Sengoku looked at the surrounding monitors secretly. Inside the monitor, there are other rookie pirates, there are wild men from the sea. But there was no sign of any member of the flying pirates. Kong looked at the time, and there was still an hour before the official time for Roger's execution. But this hour, for naval headquarters, it is the time to show their strength and prestige at the highest level. See that the time is right. Kong immediately turned his head and ordered, "Come here. Bring the Golden Roger to the execution platform. Before execution, we will make him kneel in front of the whole world, bow his head and repent for an entire hour. Let the world see the confession of the worst person in the world." This is how Marine treats prisoners. In the original Summit War, Ace was severely tortured and impelled down, and when he was escorted to the top of the execution platform, he was already in a half-dead state. And it's the same when switching to Roger's side. One Piece? His title is big though, but there's a title bigger than One Piece. Prisoner. Naturally, the people in Marine have the final say on the treatment of prisoners. The head of One Piece is about to be chopped off. In front of the whole world, it is not too much to ask this person to kneel for an hour. It's not too much to smash a rotten egg. This world has never been kind. In the dark corridor, Roger was wearing all kinds of shackles, which made it difficult for him to move around. As he got closer to the execution platform, even Roger felt a little bit of melancholy in his heart. But, is everything going to end? Zhao Dejong. Go faster. You haven't eaten anything. Return One Piece. Shit One Piece. It's no different from ordinary little thieves. The escort kicked Roger directly. Clap. Marine swung the whip in his hand, and lashed Roger directly on the back. If it weren't for Roger's upcoming appearance in front of the world, these whips will definitely hit the face. The surrounding Marines also drew out their knives, all pointing at the slow-moving Roger. Soon, Roger could see a glimmer of light when he looked up, and he was about to walk to the exit as soon as he saw the aisle. The voice in the ear also kept ringing. I don't know how many Marines are shouting excitedly at the moment. Not much. Roger was escorted, and he was going to be executed and recalled every day. The execution platform is as high as 100 meters. All steel structure. The black metal makes people feel the coldness at a glance. Clang clang clang. Ah, get down on your knees and repent, scum. The Marines stood upright, all looking towards the execution platform. At the moment, Sabodi Archipelago. In the crowded square, soap bubbles are flying all over the sky. See the figure on the huge screen. The audience is in an uproar. That's One Piece Gold Roger. It's the One Piece Goldo Roger. An ugly celestial dragon stared at the man on the screen, swallowing. All around him are security personnel. Facing the execution scene of One Piece, even the celestial dragons are mixed together at the moment. They were in groups of 3 and 4, watching the scene on the screen with dull eyes. Keep muttering. Such a person, a bastard like Roger, should be my slave. It would be a pity to kill him. Hey, St. Charles Rose, why don't we go to the Marine headquarters and ask someone to come over? Untouchables, slaves, stay away from me. And the people around were equally astonished. They still can't accept this fact. It never occurred to me that Roger, the One Piece King, was really about to be executed. But soon they burst out with joyful voices. Ha 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 ha. This execution will be the best show. Naval headquarters did a great job this time. What a pity. That bastard Roger just got One Piece. He should hand over the One Piece. Sounds like Sabodi's islands continue to spread all over the world. All are awaiting further action at Marine. Only when Roger's head is cut off, they will leave contentedly. Marineford. Under the execution platform, Marine officers and soldiers looked at Roger on the platform. Everyone was gnashing their teeth and their eyes were flaming. It's because of guys like Roger that the sea has become such a mess. The members of the establishment of naval headquarters have such a hard-working fate, thanks to people like Roger. The pirates of the Grand Line should all die. Time passed by every minute and every second. Kong, Sengoku and others on the stage are waiting quietly. At this moment, there is only half an hour before the execution. Sengoku, it looks like that bastard Kazan is too loud. They know that the current Marineford is not where they should come, so they can't see a single figure from the air pirates, Kong said in a deep voice. It's just what I want. Hearing this, Sengoku stared at the pirate ship floating in the waters near Marineford. Yes, Marineford is a place where any pirate can come and go. There, just a few pirate supernovas. Regardless of whether it is the sea or the sky, there is no shadow of the flying pirates. Zephyr clasped his hands in front of his broad chest. His arms made of pure black iron shone like black metal in the sun. His arms were severed by Kazan Shiki, so he naturally hated the two brothers. Damn it. Those two cowards. They dare not come here at all. Kong nodded. Our naval headquarters has made such great preparations that the entire Marineford Island is like a dragon's pond and a tiger's den. No one would dare to fight us here. Sengoku. This execution should be able to proceed normally. Sound, One Piece Roger has nothing to do with the flying pirates. Kazan is a person who cares about his interests, and it is impossible to do anything that harms his own interests. However, accidents still happened. At this time, an intelligence agent quickly jumped onto the high platform. Reported to Kong. Admiral Kong, news just came from the New World G1 Fortress. The flying pirates are attacking the G1 Fortress. Kerhorn, the Vice Admiral has sent a signal for help. What? Kong was obviously taken aback, but after he regained his composure. Still giving orders in a deep voice. Tell them to stand up. After Roger is executed on our side, we will go to support him. Damn Kazan. What a bag. You actually chose to attack the G1 Fortress. Don't you dare to confront our Marine head-on. In fact, Kong was already furious with anger. G1 Fortress is the first fortress established by Marine in New World. Looking at the whole world, its status is second only to Marineford, because Marine's influence in New World has actually existed in name only, and naval headquarters has gradually stopped sending fresh to G1 Fortress in recent years. Blood. But that doesn't mean G1 Fortress is an easy nut to crack. But because Marineford was going to execute Roger this time, naval headquarters completely gave up paying attention to the G1 Fortress. Unexpectedly, the flying pirates took advantage of the loophole. So, their target has always been just the fortress of the New World. What a loss. At this moment, although Kong said that he would support, Sengoku next to him clearly understood the meaning. What is the combat effectiveness of the flying pirates? Wait until Roger's execution is over. The fortress over there has long since fallen. With Kong's words, it is clear that he will give up the first fortress of New World. As expected. Not long after, the intelligence agent came to report again. Report to Marshal Kong. The G1 fortress has been lifted into the sky by the flying pirates, and it has completely fallen. We have lost control of the fortress. Before long, Fortress G1 will completely disappear from this world. Kong just waved his hand to tell the agent to go down. After a pause, Kong felt it was time. He walked directly to Roger's side, and said in a deep voice, "Goldo Roger, you who are the chief culprits of disturbing the sea, really deserve to die. However, things always come to an end, and today is your day of death. Because of your execution in the world, no pirate will dare to go out to sea again. The world will enter eternal peace. Your head is the best deterrent to the world." Roger lowered his head and laughed contemptuously. He. This is just the beginning. It is impossible to die. HMPH. Kong snorted coldly. You're the only one who thinks that way. 10 of your former team members didn't stand up after we announced your death sentence. What legendary team? It's just a bunch of cowards. In fact, the date of Roger's execution has been announced for some time, and the members of the Roger Pirates have indeed disappeared and never appeared at sea. Marine's intelligence network has not received any information about the members of the Roger Pirates. The proof in disguise, even if you have become the One Piece, it is nothing more than that. Even the so-called companions did not dare to come to the rescue. Pirates? After all, they are just a bunch of profit-seeking bastards. After getting the big secret treasure, they probably all went their separate ways. Roger's place in their hearts. In fact, that's all. Ah ha 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 ha. Kong, as the Marine Marshal, you are really a representative of stupidity. You will not deceive yourself and think that I was captured by you. Ha 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 ha. A bunch of trash. Roger sneered. Roger was not arrested, but turned himself in. Now by the hypocrisy of Marine, the propaganda becomes arrest. But at the end of the day, Marine is actually a piece of trash who hasn't done anything. When Roger said that, Kong couldn't hold back for an instant. But Roger's murderous words came again. You Marie Joys, lackeys, what you are afraid of will come soon, just wait, maybe it will be this time. The world will eventually be overthrown by the king. One Piece, but his life and death, he's coming. Roger's dark circles became more and more dignified, but there were golden threads intertwined in his pupils. Seeing this, Roger's tone became more and more forceful. Although whispers, but it was also passed to the ears of Sengoku and others around. Sengoku was in a daze. A golden wind suddenly blows in front of my eyes. Marineford. In the coldness of the golden wind, there is a hint of heat. Thousands of threads brushed across the entire sea area, as if to burn people's eyeballs. People can't help but want to go, the urge to rub the eye sockets. Sengoku and others stand on the execution platform. His face froze suddenly. This is Kazan. Everyone looked around. Where's that Kazan guy? The golden wind has actually appeared countless times in front of everyone. This special wind, mixed with various attributes, actually does not belong to Logia long ago, and it has also carved a deep imprint on the hearts of Sengoku and others. Wind. Brought by Kazan Windfruit. The wind was originally only dark green, but with the start of the Battle of the Valley of the Gods, Kazan's fruit was upgraded, and this evil wind turned golden. So much so that it becomes the unique special scenery in the world. Kong frowned deeply. At this moment he has understood. He never expected that Kazan would actually come. Although he didn't show up, the sense of oppression has permeated the entire Marineford. No, isn't Kazan attacking the G1 fortress? Coming to Marineford so soon? Could it be that the GL fortress has completely fallen? On the high platform, Sengoku said in a deep voice, among the flying pirates, that giant Molly has the Paramecia Gate fruit, and may be teleported through space at any time. Looking at it now, Kazan did not participate in the attack on the G1 fortress. Attack, but wait for the news from New World. Now the marine fortress of New World is about to be captured by other members of the flying pirates, and those pirates from New World must also be teleported. Damn it. That Kazan guy never misses a chance to hit Marine. He always pursues multiple goals in one incident. Yes, Kazan will not wait in Marineford, just like a movie has not started, then Kazan will choose to go to other places first, as long as he does not delay watching the movie. Anyway, the result is the same. Knowing that waiting is a waste of time, but waiting patiently is the most stupid thing. Sengoku gritted his teeth and said, it's definitely that bastard Kazan. His target is indeed Marineford. While Marine is unarmed in New World, Kazan has unplugged all Marine bases in New World. And now, since the name came to Marineford, it means that Marineford is his ultimate goal. Zephyr clenches a fist on the side. In the palm, came the sound of sharp metal rubbing. Once a war breaks out, only victory is allowed, not defeat, said Yifa. Kong said. We are fully prepared, our arsenal is sufficient, and Logia's lava, and glaciers. It can definitely deal a major blow to the flying pirates. Marineford is not the Valley of the Gods, not everyone can pinch its soft persimmons. Speaking of this, Kong's heart ached a little. Too bad that guy Peluzalino is dead. Otherwise, there will be 3 Logias on my side, and they will take the initiative on the scene. But where is that guy Kazan? The wind is here. Aid. When Kong was observing around, the entire Marineford Island became violently windy. Some stones on the ground that had been weathered were instantly shattered under the pressure of the golden wind. The whole square was in a panic. What is this golden wind? What a beautiful wind of gold, holy as gold. Some marine recruits who have not experienced fighting with Kazan and others became curious about this strange wind. But those marine high officials who have experienced the Valley of the Gods. But each of them frowned deeply, and their tone was full of helplessness. The golden wind is the symbol of Kazan, and whenever the golden wind appears, it means that Kazan is ready to take action. Perhaps. Among the billions of winds, there is one that is Kazan's body. He is a Logia wind fruit ability user. The voice fell. For a moment, everyone in Marineford Square fell silent. After all, I still have to come to find trouble. Far away. On the surface of the sea, pirates and reporters also notice the scene. As long as they open their palms, they can feel golden threads passing through the gaps in their fingers. Crocodile pinched the cigar with his fingers and placed it in front of his eyes. The golden wind blew by, and the gold threads rushed into the gray smoke. Mixing together, Ji-Chi floated to the depths of Marineford Island. Is that legendary character about to appear? Kazan. Target, it's One Piece, Roger. Crocodile's eyes were fixed, and he saw the smoke drifting towards Marineford. At the same time, Crocodile vaguely estimated that the trajectory of the wind was blowing towards the execution platform. Shi. Come on, the real protagonist of the 2 eras, the man in the era, Kazan, the king of flying. Don Quixote Doflamingo bent his back in a pink feather cape, adjusted his small glasses, and faced the sky and the sea, glanced right and left. It is said that every time Kazan takes a shot, he will achieve his goal, and the process is often that the dragon sees the beginning and does not see the end. So much so that there is not much information about Kazan at sea. Doflamingo's tone and face were very calm, but his fingers kept beating like playing a piano. All the excitement was actually written on the action. When I will show up. On the deck of her own pirate ship, Moria's grin stopped suddenly. There was also cold sweat on his forehead. It's Kazan, the king of flying. Will he really come here? Little ones, don't act rashly. Moria turned her head and ordered. Those pirate members immediately put away their weapons and stood on the deck peeing. Let the wind of gold shake the boat, and the other side. On the sea surface, the originally calm waves suddenly became violent. The hull undulates and becomes more undernamed. The one with the deepest feeling is Mahawk, which is less than 1 meter above sea level. He is standing on the coffin-like boat at this moment, only half a meter above the sea. Feel the waves coming from your feet. The unparalleled big fast knife knight on the back has been tightly held by Mahawk's hands. His eyes are as sharp as an eagle, constantly observing the surroundings. Only by truly understanding the wind, only then did I know what a terrifying element wind is. Because the wind is always by your side. Golden wind. The information about that guy is only spread among some top pirates. It is rumored that he has never attacked the weak, and the strong men who fought against him all died, so that there is very little information about that man on the sea, and the rest are just legends. The number 1 swordsman in the world, Kazan. On the other side, the merchant marine is right. Monk had dragged the cloak covering his head, and was blown by the wind. Drago's eyes kept looking around, wanting to see the man he hated. The Valley of the Gods many years ago, Drago's father, Monkey D. Garp, went to the war. But after that, never came back, naval headquarters. Afterwards, Garp was only posthumously named a marine hero. But afterwards, even though Drago proposed to investigate the matter many times, naval headquarters refused to investigate the matter on the grounds that the Valley of the Gods incident was special. Nothing to do. Naval headquarters didn't investigate, didn't pay attention to the truth of the incident. Everything on that day disappeared without a trace as the Valley of Gods sank into the sea. Seeing Marine is the first perfunctory attitude. After staying in Marine for a while, Drago couldn't stand it anymore. At last. Even if Marine offered Monkey D. Drago a condition to be Marine Admiral. Drago still left Marine without hesitation. Then. Drago has been to many places, and he has also arrived at the legendary island of pirates. Hachinosu. Drago finally found some information about his father in a bar. According to the scene described by the pirates at that time, Monkey D. Garp was finally captured and taken away by Kazan's flying pirates during the Battle of the Valley of the Gods. After that, he completely lost any news. A marine hero, there is almost no information left. Empty names. At this moment, seeing the golden wind is consistent with the way the man in the legend appeared. This gave Drago an extra goal for his trip. Find Kazan. Until the news of Garp is asked. At this time, the captain of the merchant ship stepped onto the bow, smoking a pipe, and asked, "Where?" At the same time, scouts from naval headquarters held binoculars and looked around anxiously. No surprises. But, soon he saw. In the distant sky, a small boat is coming towards Marineford.